Chapter 104. Qi. The power of the Jin Dan keeps shuttling through Qin Yu's bones and muscles, causing them to tremble again and again. Tiny drops of blood keep oozing out of Qin Yu's pores. However, Qin Yu clenches his teeth and bears with it. Time is of the essence. In Qin Yu's nebula in his dantian, that cyan flame is incessantly burning the airflow of the Jin Dan, burning away all the impurities and leaving only the essence, which is then absorbed by the various silver granules in Qin Yu's nebula. Last time Qin Yu executed his unique skill and Xiang Yang's desperate strike, Qin Yu's silver granules have become much smaller. Even though they have been repaired for a while, they have only recovered more than half. At the moment, the silver granules in Qin Yu's nebula have already surpassed Qin Yu's best state in the past. I only need half a day. After half a day, my power will return to its best state. Qin Yu plans in his mind. He doesn't need to pay too much attention to refining the Jin Dan because he thinks the refining process is very simple and he only needs to pay a little attention to it. But what can I do even if my power recovers? Qin Yu becomes a bit anxious. Qin Yu simply doesn't know anything about this enormous overseas Xiuzhen world, especially the underwater Zuyuist world, which is the most powerful. For example, he was judged as an outsider by other Zuyuists when he entered the ocean for the first time. What actually happened? If he can't figure this out, perhaps it will be very difficult for him to make any progress. There are as many Zuyuists as there are clouds in the ocean. There must be many more who are stronger than me. If I don't completely understand the underwater Zuyuist world, perhaps I'll have to return to my hometown on the Qianlong continent like a coward. Qin Yu simply can't tolerate himself retreating. But what can he do about it? Ask people. Will those Zuyuists tell him? Perhaps they will immediately attack Qin Yu. Right. A light flashes through Qin Yu's mind. He suddenly remembers those Xiuzhen books he read in Lei Mountain House. Among them, there are Xiaxianist secret books, Xiamoist secret books and Zuyuist secret books. In addition, there were also some secret cultivation manuals from the Holy Land of True Cultivation in another universe, Earth. One of them seemed to be a devil cultivator's secret manual from Earth. Qin Yu roughly flipped through it and saw these two words: Soul Search. However, Qin Yu wasn't interested in some of the cultivation methods of devil cultivators, such as using pregnant women's private placentas, and so on. He just flipped through the books. However, Qin Yu paid attention to this demonic path secret technique, Soul Search. Alright, after I refine the Jin Dan, I'll begin my research. Qin Yu's heart was filled with joy. At the most critical moment, these special skills of the devil path could actually help him. At the thought of Soul Search, Qin Yu also recalled the other Devil Dao secret skills described in the secret manual. Each of the secret skills was extremely mysterious. However, to the current Qin Yu, it was extremely suitable for him. Just as Qin Yu was about to rejoice, suddenly, no good, there are some people. Qin Yu knew the situation was bad. His holy sense had clearly detected two Zuyuists passing by above. These two Zuyuists were both flying in the water in human form. But they were not very powerful. The most powerful one was only at the late stage of the Jin Dan stage. Qin Yu's soul was very tough, so his holy sense was also very powerful. Under the cover of his holy sense, those two Zuyuists unexpectedly didn't detect him at all. Senior brother, I heard the son of the head of the Sang clan of the Octopus clan was killed. The head of the Sang clan even issued a reward. Once the murderer is caught, the head of the Sang clan will owe him a favor and a middle-grade holy weapon. A tall Zuyuist says casually to the short Zuyuist beside him laughingly. The senior brother says disdainfully, Junior brother, don't think so much. Since the murderer was able to kill the son of the head of the Sang clan, his power can't be weak. Stop dreaming. The tall Zuyuist, however, disagrees. Senior brother, haven't you heard about that reward? That Xiaxianist used an escape technique similar to the blood evasion technique in the end, so his elemental energy must have been greatly damaged. Moreover, his power is not even at the Yuanying stage. Senior brother, an escape technique at the same level as the blood evasion is absolutely impossible to recover without a year or so. That's true. It's very difficult to recover from an escape technique at the same level as the blood evasion technique. The senior brother nods in agreement. Qin Yu, who is observing everything from below with his holy sense, secretly rejoices. If it weren't for Lu Xing's tear, it would really be impossible for him to recover his power without a year or so. Moreover, his burning left arm would not be able to regrow. Those Zuyoists all think it's very easy to catch Qin Yu. The only problem is finding Qin Yu. A human without the aura of a Zuyoist is very easy to distinguish. However, Qin Yu has Lu Xing's tear. None of the Zuyoists expected this. This gives Qin Yu a glimmer of hope to survive. That's right. Senior brother, that Xiaxionist must be very weak. How about we check him and use our holy sense to search while flying? Maybe we'll really run into him. The tall Zuyoist suggests. Qin Yu's heart, however, is shaken. In that instant, he feels as if his heart suddenly stops. Then his heartbeat seems to be vibrating in his mind. No good. I haven't succeeded in refining this Jin Dan. If I rush out like this without any preparation or plan, even if I kill these two, I'll still be chased by a great number of Zuyoists. After the lesson last time, Qin Yu also knows that he can't be rash. No matter what, he has to be prepared for everything. Junior brother, stop dreaming. The ocean is vast and limitless. The range of our holy sense is very small. If we discover some terrifying demonic beast with our holy sense and annoy it, you'll have to prepare to die. The senior brother shouts. It's very impolite to use your holy sense to casually check someone who is more powerful than you. As soon as the tall Zuyoist hears this, he cannot help but feel scared. Yes, you're right, senior brother. Let's go. If it's yours, it's yours. If it's not yours, you can't force it. That senior brother is obviously very steady. He then leads his junior brother and the two of them continue to move forward. They pass over Qin Yu's head. The ocean is limitless. Perhaps some formidable demonic beast is hiding at the bottom of the ocean and practicing quietly. Even though the probability is very small, it is definitely higher than finding Qin Yu. After all, there is only one Qin Yu and there must be more than one demonic beast hiding at the bottom of the ocean. If their holy sense disturbs such a formidable demonic beast, it may eat them. Phew! Qin Yu secretly lets out a sigh of relief. Even though he is not afraid of these two Zuyoists, it would be terrible if his identity was exposed because of them. Moreover, according to what these two Zuyoists said, Qin Yu discovers a very bad thing. A bounty. No good. Sang Mo has unexpectedly put a bounty on me. Qin Yu thinks of many things in an instant. In the end, he confirms that he must first learn the Xioma secret technique Soul Search. As for some other special secret techniques, he is not in a hurry to learn them. After learning Soul Search, he must first find a Zuyoist and use it. At the very least, he will know the general situation of the world of Zuyoists at the bottom of the ocean so that he can be better prepared. After all, only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win 100 battles. After half a day, Qin Yu has finally completely refined that Jin Dan. By now, all the injuries on Qin Yu's body have been healed. There isn't even a scar on his arm. Only there are many blood scabs on the surface of his body. These blood scabs are condensed from the blood that seeped out of Qin Yu's unhealed muscles when he refined the Jin Dan. Of course, by now Qin Yu's body has completely recovered. Wang, the energy on the surface of his body vibrates and those blood scabs are completely shattered. Very good. I've never been in such a good state before. Qin Yu opens his eyes. At the moment, he is under a coral. Qin Yu directly uses his stellar energy to shake the surrounding soil away. At the same time, his holy sense completely enters the space ring. Qin Yu's holy sense can easily browse through everything in the space ring. Qin Yu's holy sense directly enters the study of Lei Mountain House. Wuming. Only when Qin Yu uses his holy sense to open that secret book does Qin Yu notice that this secret book about Xioma unexpectedly has this name. Wuming doesn't mean that it doesn't have a name. It means that this secret book of Xioma is called Wuming. Qin Yu directly skips over that so-called Xioma method and reads the practicing method about Xioma secret techniques directly. In the past, Qin Yu didn't pay attention to this, so he didn't pay too much attention to it. Now he begins to read it carefully line by line. What's the holy sense? Is it naturally produced when one reaches the level of Jin Dan and has a strong enough soul? According to ancient legends, Zayashinists have holy senses and immortals have immortal senses. This is a matter of course. I originally thought so, but later I found out that this is not the case at all. Seeing this paragraph, Qin Yu is completely immersed in it. Reading with the holy sense is indeed very fast. Soon, Qin Yu has finished reading all kinds of secret techniques about Xioma. After reading this secret technique, Qin Yu feels that his understanding of the soul has reached a new level. Qin Yu opens his eyes and a light of excitement flashes through them. The Wuming book written by this anonymous senior is absolutely not inferior to the Stellar Transformations cultivation method created by Master. After reading this book, Qin Yu sincerely admires this Zayashinist senior from another universe on Earth. That senior had revealed a new world, a world of the most essential soul. Well, let's start the first attempt. Sets of Xioma secret techniques flashed through Qin Yu's mind. However, all secret techniques have the same root, the power of the soul that can be controlled at will. What is the power of the soul? Holy sense is the power of the soul. The legendary immortal sense, according to inference, is also the power of the soul. It's just that when the soul is strong to a certain extent, the power of the soul will also undergo an essential change. Qin Yu recalls the description of the first step of cultivation. The first step of this cultivation method is the most difficult. The power of the soul is very mysterious. Ordinary Zayashinists can only spread the power of the soul. It's extremely difficult to make other changes, such as turning the power of the soul into a vortex, a circle, and so on. It depends on one's talent. There's only trial and error. There's no shortcut. Qin Yu can only hope that his talent is high. Spin, spin. Qin Yu says silently in his mind, trying to control the power of the soul to change according to his will. However, as the book says, the power of the soul is really difficult to control. It seems to only have two functions, spreading and contracting. The spreading of the power of the soul is the observation of the soul with the holy sense. The contracting of the soul is not the use of the holy sense. A thin stream of heat slowly flows from Lu Xing's tears into Qin Yu's mind. In the depths of his mind, there is a disc-shaped energy. Around this disc, electric snakes are constantly winding, and at the same time, a seven-colored light is slowly released. That thin stream of heat is slowly swallowed by the disc. Qin Yu is still trying to control the power of the soul. The eyes of nothingness cannot see, they can only feel the power of the soul. Trying again and again, Qin Yu does not give up. Because the Book of the Devil Path once said, the most talented disciple of this sect tried for 3 days before he could slightly control the power of the soul. The creator of this book spent a whole year to write it. Originally, the nothingness of the soul that quietly revolves around the soul in his mind suddenly vibrates. It moved. Qin Yu's heart suddenly burst with joy. He did not think that he would succeed in just an hour. He simply cannot understand how he can control the power of the soul so easily. Soul search. Qin Yu suddenly thought of the soul search technique. He did not waste any time and immediately continued to practice. In less than half an hour, 10% of the power of the soul in his mind is completely under Qin Yu's control. Yes, 10% is completely under his control. Although this seems small, the creator of this book spent a whole 50 years to reach 10%. However, no matter how Qin Yu tries, he is unable to control more. Okay, first fix the back. Qin Yu controlled the 10% of the power of the soul and started to move. The power of the soul is in the shape of a whirlpool, wrapping the soul and the other power of the soul in the core. On Earth, this is a defensive method to prevent others from using the power of the soul to attack. Even if you cannot forcibly resist, you can use the whirlpool to weaken it layer by layer. The whirlpool-like power of the soul began to slowly move. Suddenly, the tear of Lu Xing in Qin Yu's body vibrated. A blazing warm current directly flowed out from Lu Xing's tear and rushed directly into Qin Yu's mind. The whirlpool is unable to stop it. The warm current is rampaging and directly broke the whirlpool formed by Qin Yu. Not good. This is the first time Qin Yu used the power of the soul to form a whirlpool, but it was suddenly forcefully broken. The power of the soul actually became chaotic. Moreover, it also caused the remaining power of the soul that Qin Yu is unable to control to become chaotic. When the power of the soul was calm, Qin Yu was only able to control 10% of it with great difficulty. Now that it has become completely chaotic, Qin Yu panics at once. At this moment, a middle Yuanying stage Zooist is slowly flying over in the distance. His holy sense spreads out in a very domineering manner. According to the direction of his holy sense, he is heading in Qin Yu's direction. Given the chaotic power of the soul, Qin Yu will definitely not be able to escape from this Zooist's detection. According to the bounty poster, that Xiaxionist is very likely to be in this area of 100,000 Li Sang Mo is an idiot. He can't even catch a Xiaxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage. A large man with a horn on his head humps coldly and flies extremely fast towards Qin Yu. Chapter 105. At the moment, Qin Yu simply doesn't know that a middle-stage Yuanying Zooist is about to search the area where he is. His attention is completely focused on what is happening in his mind. That blazing cyan stream of air rushes into the area of soul energy like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Water is impermanent and so is this intangible soul energy. Even though it is disturbed, it can naturally return to its original state with time. Of course, the time it takes to return to its original state cannot be considered short. In his mind, compared to the enormous soul energy, the core of the soul energy, that disk which is emitting winding electric snakes, is the real core of a person's soul. The relationship between the soul and the soul energy is like the relationship between the sun and the sunlight. The soul is the real body. Qin Yu's current practice only allows him to have some understanding of the soul energy. He simply doesn't know anything about the real fundamental soul. The soul is a forbidden area that Xiaxionists can't touch. What's that blazing cyan stream of air which was emitted by Lu Xing's tear? Qin Yu's attention is completely focused on that cyan stream of air which has suddenly appeared. That blazing cyan stream of air is not obstructed at all. It passes through the area of soul energy and flies directly to the soul. The area of soul energy is like a turbulent sea. In the middle of this turbulent sea of soul energy, there is a disc-like island which is the soul. When the cyan stream of air reaches the island in the middle, the soul directly absorbs it. At the same time, the seven-colored disc which is emitting winding electric snakes suddenly becomes chaotic. The cyan light suddenly surges. In a short while, it returns to its original state. In this split second, the enormous soul energy around the soul flashes with cyan light. All of the soul energy seems to have undergone a metamorphosis. Qin Yu himself has also undergone an extremely great change. What a wonderful feeling! Qin Yu suddenly opens his eyes. His eyes glitter. Mental power, control. At the moment, Qin Yu's mental power control is much stronger than before. This kind of mental power control has many uses, such as controlling the circulation of the elemental energy in his body. The stronger his mental power control is, the more obedient Qin Yu's elemental energy will be. When he attacks in the future, he will be able to control it even more subtly. However, the power of the soul seems to be even harder to control. When Qin Yu tried to control his soul strength again, he discovered that his soul strength had also changed. In the past, his soul strength was that of an untrained scholar, but now, it was that of a strong and powerful man. It had undergone an indescribable change, making it much more difficult to control. Even with Qin Yu's sudden increase in soul power, he was still only able to control 1/10 of his soul power. As his control grew, his soul power would also transform. Qin Yu was still only able to control 10% of his soul power. It was also 10%. What did this mean? Although Qin Yu was puzzled, he couldn't understand. This was because, according to logic, it was impossible to suddenly increase one's soul control or soul essence. Control ability required repeated attempts to control it. As the number of attempts increased, it would slowly increase. As for soul strength, it was also the same for soul strength. As one's cultivation increased, the transformation of one's soul strength would lead to the gradual improvement of one's soul strength. Just now, Qin Yu's controllability and soul power both improved by a step. For Xiationists, this was simply impossible. All of this was due to a cyan-hot stream of air coming from Lu Xing's tear. Lu Xing's tear, what is it? Qin Yu became even more curious about Lu Xing's tear, which had fused with his body. Qin Yu also tried to send out his soul power. The moment he sent it out, Qin Yu was shocked to discover that a middle-stage Yuanying expert was flying over him. Moreover, that middle-stage Yuanying expert was still investigating with his holy sense. When that holy sense swept over Qin Yu, it didn't find anything. And when Qin Yu sent out his holy sense, that guy didn't feel anything either. There were two levels of holy sense. That middle-stage Yuanying Zuyuist's holy sense was a bit weaker than Qin Yu's, so he simply couldn't detect Qin Yu's holy sense. As for the principle, Qin Yu didn't understand it at all. It was really a bit profound. Qin Yu only knew the result. A strong holy sense could detect a weak one, but a weak one simply couldn't detect a strong one. After a while, Qin Yu's whole body directly went out from under the coral like lightning. At the moment, Qin Yu's condition was unprecedentedly good. The effect of using Lu Xing's escape has been completely removed. Moreover, Qin Yu had also learned the soul-searching technique. Xiao He is in the northwest, and very far away. Qin Yu's eyes were closed, but he could clearly sense Xiao He's existence. Xiao He and Qin Yu had a special feeling since they were little. They were both able to sense each other's existence. Qin Yu slightly narrowed his eyes and thought about the situation for a while. Judging from the current situation, Sangmo put a bounty on me because of his son's death. But these underwater Zuyuists seem to be able to easily tell that I'm not a Zuyuist, even if I'm a demonic beast weaker than myself. Qin Yu still remembers how those weak demonic beasts fled as soon as they saw Qin Yu when he and Xiao He dived into the ocean just now. Those Zuyuists can tell that I'm a Zuyuist. Plus the bounty, it's hard for me to move around in this underwater world. Moreover, I don't know anything about this underwater world of Zuyuists. Now the most important thing is to kill a Zuyuist stealthily and use the soul-searching technique to figure out what's going on in this underwater world of Zuyuists. Qin Yu knows very well that he has to be very, very, very careful in this strange environment. Qin Yu spreads out his holy sense. He is very confident in his holy sense. Even a middle-stage Yuanying expert's holy sense was unable to detect him, so it is easy to imagine how formidable Qin Yu's holy sense is. Turning into a beam of light, Qin Yu flies directly towards the south. However, not long after he flies, Qin Yu notices that there are 8 Zuyuists not far from him. He immediately stops using his stellar energy to restrain his aura but doesn't try to hide his holy sense at all. After all, these 8 Zuyuists are only at the Jin Dan stage. Big Brother Sang Yen, this time our clan leader is going crazy. He's making us search non-stop and won't even let us rest. A Zuyuist says. These 8 Zuyuists are none other than members of the Sang clan of the octopuses. They are working together. It's also because these 8 Zuyuists are lazy. After all, if each Zuyuist is assigned an area, the search speed will be much faster. F*CK, I don't know where this Xiaxionist has gone. There aren't any Shoujian islands within 100,000 li of us. We've been searching for him for so long and our clan leader has even issued a bounty for him. But there are people searching for him almost every 100 li. We can't even find his shadow. Sang Yen says angrily. Qin Yu, who is using his holy sense to search in the distance, however, changes his expression. He knows that the bounty will attract many Zuyuists to search for him, but he didn't expect that on average, there will be 1 Zuyuist for every 100 li. It should be known that for Zuyuists, a distance of 100 li is basically nothing. Qin Yu, however, doesn't know that only this area within 100,000 li of him is densely packed with Zuyuists. After all, most Zuyuists think that Qin Yu is in this area. As for the areas farther away, there are much fewer Zuyuists. Most Zuyuists are just searching in passing. Zuyuists usually practice very boring. Therefore, they are very enthusiastic about hunting down a certain Xiaxionist. 8 Zuyoists. Qin Yu is thinking about the possibility of killing these 8 Zuyoists. After thinking for a while, Qin Yu slowly shakes his head. No, it's impossible to kill them all at once. Besides, Sang Mo told his clansmen to come out, so they must have a way to communicate with each other. If I can't kill them all at once, they will spread the news and so many Zuyoists will gather here. That'll be terrible. The 8 of you are lucky. Qin Yu doesn't use the stellar energy in his body. Instead, he uses his physical strength alone to shuttle through the water like a sharp arrow. The principle of Qin Yu's body maneuvering skill in the past was to turn the resistance of water into assistance. Given Qin Yu's physical strength and his body maneuvering skill, his speed can be considered very fast. In just a while, he is far away from those 8 Zuyoists. Just relying on physical strength to shuttle through the water is still slower than using stellar energy to fly. Qin Yu uses his holy sense to discover that there are no Zuyoists in the vicinity, so he starts to use his stellar energy again, preparing to shuttle through the water extremely fast. However, Qin Yu's face changes color. There are unexpectedly 2 more Zuyoists up ahead. Moreover, judging from the fact that these 2 Zuyoists have released their holy senses to search, perhaps they are also chasing after Qin Yu. It's only been 10 odd li and I've already run into people chasing after me. Qin Yu finally understands how densely packed are the people chasing after him, especially in this area of 100,000 li. Generally, Zuyoists who have nothing better to do will release their holy senses to search for him. These 2 Zuyoists look very strong. One of them is bald and is wearing a suit of armor. The other one is even more muscular. His skin is dark cyan and he is holding a dark stick in his hand. Hey bro, these days are really boring. You haven't been hunting on the surface of the water recently? The bald man wearing the suit of armor asks the cyan giant in a casual manner. The cyan giant says with a mysterious smile, "Of course not. Last time when I was hunting in the coastal area of a neighboring continent, I was very lucky. I happened to run into a fishing boat with 10 odd people and some women on it. I transformed into my true form on the spot and ate half of them at one go. I put the rest into my storage bracelet. Haha, when those people saw my true form, they all shouted that I was a water monster. Then can I also?" The bald man signaled to the green giant with his eyes. The cyan giant says smilingly, "Sure, sure." The cyan giant is already unable to say anything. A fist has directly pierced through his chest where his heart is. His heart has already been smashed. Damn it! There is a hint of ruthlessness in Qin Yu's eyes. Ever since he heard what they said, Qin Yu has decided to kill these 2 men. As soon as the bald man sees Qin Yu, he is greatly alarmed. "Who are you?" The bald man is very astonished. He simply did not sense any aura, but Qin Yu was able to kill his brother with a single punch at a frighteningly fast speed. Qin Yu stares at the bald man, a faint cold smile appearing on the corners of his mouth. "You'll be the target of my soul searching." Soul searching? What does that mean? The bald man is astonished. To soul search, the target soul must still be present. If a person's body dies, their soul will quickly float out of the body and enter the cycle of reincarnation. Therefore, there are 2 ways to soul search. The first is to directly search the soul of a living person. The second is to immediately search the body after killing it, taking advantage of the fact that the soul has not left the body. As for the cyan giant, his soul has already left the body. Therefore, the target of Qin Yu's soul searching is this bald man wearing battle armor. "You are a cultivator. The cultivator who killed Sang Mo's son?" The bald man suddenly says. Qin Yu raises his eyebrows. The other party actually recognized him. "You actually recognized me. Tell me, how did you recognize me?" Qin Yu stares at the bald man and asks. The bald man secretly sighs in relief. The other party did not immediately attack, which gives him a slight chance to escape. As for the battle with Qin Yu, seeing how Qin Yu killed his friend, he has already determined Qin Yu's strength. The bald man smiles flatteringly. "This is indeed a very simple matter. You don't have the aura of a demonic beast. Your aura is different from ours. As for cultivators who dare to enter the deep sea, unless they are extremely powerful cultivators, they are just hotheads who don't know anything. But in this area, there is no. The bald man is still talking, but he suddenly realizes that Chinyu, who was originally 10 meters away, suddenly appears in front of him. Ah! The bald man immediately responds and wants to block, but just as he stretches out his fist, pang! With the sound of bones breaking, Chinyu's fist directly smashes the bald man's fist. The bald man is stunned and directly pierces his chest, shattering his heart. At the same time, Chinyu's left hand suddenly grabs the bald man's head. Path of Diabolism. Soul Search. After a while, Chinyu withdraws his palm. At the same time, he also collects the Jin Dan of these two Zuyoists. These two Zuyoists are both middle Jin Dan stage experts. The reason why Chinyu gave the bald man a chance to talk is that Chinyu does not want to make any mistakes. If he kills that huge Saiyan man and then immediately kills the bald man, the latter will definitely focus all his attention on defense. If he explodes himself, Chinyu will have to stay far away from him. The time he stays away will be enough for the other party's soul to drift away. Therefore, Chinyu lets the other party talk. However, when the other party is halfway through talking, he attacks. Destroy the corpses. Chinyu directly puts the corpses of the two Zuyoists, their armors and weapons into his space ring. Ordinary people's storage bracelets do not have a lot of space, so they need to deal with some useless things. Chinyu does not care about that. Putting the corpses into his space ring is definitely a top-notch method of destroying corpses. After absorbing that Zuyoist's memories, Chinyu completely understands the entire underwater world of Zuyoists. All his doubts disappear in an instant. Chinyu cannot help giving a faint confident smile. I see. Chapter 106. The sea is boundless and vast. The islands on the sea surface are the territories of Xiamoists and Xiaxianists. But the boundless underwater world is the territory of Zuyoists. Zuyoists are far more powerful than Xiaxianists and Xiamoists. There are 3 superpowers in the underwater world of Zuyoists, just like 3 big empires. The first is the Blue Dragon Temple. The true form of the master of the Blue Dragon Temple is naturally the divine beast Blue Dragon. He is known as the #1 expert in the overseas Shojin world. Even super experts among Xiaxianists and Xiamoists cannot compare with the master of the Blue Dragon Temple. The second is the 9 Spirits Hall. There are 9 leaders of the 9 Spirits Hall. Their true forms are purple demon aquatic dragons, a variant of an aquatic dragon. Even though they are not as strong as the master of the Blue Dragon Temple individually, they have 9 brothers and each of them is a super expert. The third is the Blue River Province. The master of the Blue River Province is a divine beast, a variant of the divine beast 3 blue-eyed toad. Its third eye is extremely powerful and its attacks are very strange. Even though it is a bit weaker than the master of the Blue Dragon Temple, it is because of its strange third eye that even the master of the Blue Dragon Temple is not sure if he can defeat it. These 3 superpowers are like 3 super empires in the underwater world of Zuyoists. Each of them occupies an area of water with a circumference of almost 100 million li. Nobody dares to shake the position of the 3 superpowers because they are the absolute overlords. There are also small powers under the 3 superpowers. The 9 Spirits Hall controls an area of water with a circumference of 90 million li. Within the territory of the 9 Spirits Hall, there are 8 superpowers. These 8 superpowers are completely under the control of the 9 Spirits Hall. The Red Blood Cave is the head of these 8 superpowers. It controls the northernmost 8 million li of sea within the territory of the 9 Spirits Hall. The structure is very clear, just like on the Qianlong continent. The Blue Dragon Temple, the 9 Spirits Hall and the Blue River Province are like 3 big empires. As for the Red Blood Cave, it's like a county under the control of the 9 Spirits Hall. And I'm now in the area of the sea under the control of the Red Blood Cave. Chinyu's mind is very clear. In the past, he knew nothing about the underwater Xiaoyao world, so naturally he was worried and scared. The only thing a person fears the most is the unknown. After everything is made clear, Qin feels much more relaxed even though he knows that there are countless Zuyoists. This underwater world of Zuyoists is obviously larger than the Qianlong continent and has many more experts. They are simply not on the same level. Several tens of Zuyoists from the underwater world of Zuyoists can easily sweep across the entire Qianlong continent. The mortal continent and the underwater world of Zuyoists are basically two different levels. So this is the reason why people can tell that I'm an outsider. 2 jade cards appeared in Qin Yu's hand. These jade plates are taken from the bodies of the 2 Zuyoists he has just killed. The top half of these 2 jade plates has the 2 characters 9 demons, and the bottom half has the 2 characters red blood. Both of these characters give off a special aura. In the past, the Grand Majesty of the Nine Spirits Hall ordered that all Zuyoists who have reached the Jin Dan stage in the territory under the jurisdiction of the Nine Spirits Hall must receive an identity jade plate. Zuyoists of the same power in the territory of the Nine Spirits Hall are not allowed to kill each other. Zuyoists in the territory of the Nine Spirits Hall have 9 types of identity jade plates in total. 9 demons, red blood, 9 demons, giant armor. The territory of the Nine Spirits Hall has 8 powers such as the Red Blood Cave, so naturally it has 8 types of identity jade plates such as 9 demons and red blood. As for the last type of identity jade plate, it is 9 demons. This is the symbol of Zuyoists who belong directly to the Nine Spirits Hall and are not under the control of the 8 powers. Zuyoists who have 9 demons identity jade plates are not allowed to kill any Zuyoists in the territory of the Nine Spirits Hall. Once they are killed, the gods of the Nine Spirits Hall will enforce the law. Zuyoists who have 9 demons, red blood, identity jade plates are not allowed to kill Zuyoists who also have 9 demons, red blood, identity jade plates. However, Zuyoists with other identity jade plates can be killed. The order of the Nine Spirits Hall is to let the 8 powers under its jurisdiction fight each other and weaken each other's power. However, the Zuyoists under its control are not allowed to be killed by others. Naturally, the number of Zuyoists directly under its control is increasing. A faint smile appears on Qin Yu's face. From now on, I'm a member of the Red Blood Cave under the Nine Spirits Hall. Qin Yu drips his blood on one of the jade plates and fuses it with his body. As for the other one, he casually tosses it into his interspatial ring. The Nine Spirits Hall has never worried about other people seizing their identity jade plates. In fact, it is eager for some experts to take these jade plates. Once a person has an identity jade plate, he will be able to sense the information on other people's identity jade plates. If they have the same type of identity jade plate, they will be considered as members of the same family. If they don't have the same type of identity jade plates, they can kill each other. Of course, you can also kill your own family members. However, you have to be confident that the law enforcement team won't know and that you can resist them. In the past, it was because Qin Yu didn't have an identity jade plate that those Zuyoists discovered him right away when he and Xiao He dived into the deep sea. But, even though I have an identity jade plate, I don't have the aura of a Zuyoist on me. Qin Yu slightly frowns. The aura of a Zuyoist is commonly known as demonic aura. In general, it is very easy for Zuyoists to distinguish between each other. This is also the reason why other people immediately determine that Qin Yu is a Xiaxionist. Qin Yu has a complicated feeling. Because he has an identity jade plate, other people can sense the aura of the jade plate. If they don't pay careful attention, they won't be able to figure out Qin Yu's identity. However, if they do, Qin Yu's aura will be in danger if they discover that he has no demonic aura. Demonic aura. Qin Yu murmurs in a low voice with a deep frown. However, he is pondering non-stop. Zuyoists use their identity jade plates to distinguish each other's identities and demonic aura. After all, Zuyoists are generally in human form and their appearances are not very different from those of Xiaxionists and Xiamoists. Right, Dark North. A faint smile appears on the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. Dark North is a secret skill of the Devil Path. The difficulty of this technique was several levels higher than that of soul searching. The Devil Path's Dark North is a secret skill of the Devil Path that combines soul energy with the body's elemental energy. Dark North has two functions. One is to restrain one's aura. The other is to speed up one's practice. If one wants to restrain one's aura, one only needs to use a bit of soul energy and the whole body's aura will be completely devoured. If one wants to speed up one's practice, one needs to use a lot of soul energy. Not only will the whole body's aura be absorbed, even the holy energy of heaven and earth will be absorbed. At this moment, the user of the Dark North is like a black hole in the eyes of outsiders, swallowing all the holy energy in the surroundings. There are two ways to investigate a person with holy sense. The first is to investigate the other party's holy sense. The second is to investigate the aura emitted by the body. Once I use the Dark North, my aura won't spread out. Other people won't be able to sense my aura at all, not even the aura of stellar energy. They will probably think that I'm practicing some special Xiaoyao method. This is a compromise. Qin Yu is not a Zuyuist, so the natural demonic aura emitted by Zuyuists cannot be formed. It can only absorb all auras. If other people discover that they cannot sense even the slightest bit of Qin Yu's aura, they will generally think that Qin Yu is a mysterious expert. Qin Yu, who is thinking about practicing the Devil Path's Dark North, simply does not notice a small cyan fish not far from him. Qin Yu checks the surroundings with his holy sense. He doesn't care about ordinary fishes and shrimps. Only those who have reached the Jin Dan stage will pay attention to Qin Yu. This small cyan fish is a Xiantian level fish and is very common in the deep sea. In the Sang clan's palace, Sang Mo is sitting alone in the main hall, drinking wine to drown his sorrows. After spending several days without finding Qin Yu, Sang Mo has now invited 30 experts of the Green-Eyed Fish clan, which can be said to have eyes all over the sea. Senior Sang Mo, that murderer has been found. A man with cyan fish scales on his face walks quickly into the main hall, then bows and says smilingly to Sang Mo. The wine cup in Sang Mo's hand pauses. You mean, the murderer has been found? Sang Mo's eyes brighten and a killing intent bursts out from them. The man of the Green-Eyed Fish clan says proudly, "It's just an area of 100,000 li. My 30 clansmen searched together and each of them controlled over 1,000 fishes. There are countless fishes at the bottom of the sea. Who would pay attention to an ordinary fish? Haha, quickly, tell me, where is he?" Sang Mo's entire body is overjoyed. The man of the Green-Eyed Fish clan directly passes a jade slip to Sang Mo. After all, it is difficult to describe clearly in words. But it is very simple to outline clearly with spiritual sense. Sang Mo uses his spiritual sense to scan and immediately knows where Qin Yu is. Good, after catching the murderer, I will definitely thank you. Sang Mo is extremely excited at the moment. The man of the Green-Eyed Fish clan smiles. Senior Sang Mo, I will go with you. Even if the murderer moves, I can clearly tell you his location. Very good, then come with me. After Sang Mo finishes speaking, he directly turns into a red stream of light and shoots out of the palace, rushing towards the direction of Qin Yu. The man of the Green-Eyed Fish clan also rushes side by side with Sang Mo. In the process of flying, Sang Mo also begins to send a message to his clansmen to surround that area. This time, no matter what, I can't let him escape again. Sang Mo's eyes flashes fiercely, killing intent constantly lingering around his body. Qin Yu sneaks into a mountain rock and begins to try to cultivate the Devil Path secret skill, Dark North. Soul searching only uses the power of the soul. It is very simple. But, Dark North, it is a fusion of the power of the soul and the body's true elemental force. Qin Yu has the power of the stars, that is to say, he needs to fuse with the power of the stars. From his dantian, he draws out the power of the stars and moves it to his mind. At the same time, it comes into contact with the power of the soul. Fusion. How do I fuse? Qin Yu found that the power of the stars and the power of the soul are two different levels of energy. It is impossible to fuse, because the power of the soul can even pass through the power of the stars. The power of the soul is like nothingness, while the power of the stars is solid. No wonder this secret book says that Dark North is extremely difficult to cultivate. The founder also created it after crossing the tribulation. Qin Yu slightly frowns. The power of the soul and the power of the stars are two different levels. Who knows how the founder fused them? Senior Sang Mo, my children have sent a message. The murderer is inside a rock 300 li southwest of here. He seems to be practicing. The man of the green-eyed fish clan says smilingly to Sang Mo, looking very confident. Sang Mo's eyes glitter. Behind him are more than 20 clansmen. At the same time, there are also other clansmen of the Sang clan in several other directions. 300 li, very good. Sang Mo feels that the blood in his entire body is boiling. As soon as he recalls the scene where his son's head was pierced and Jean Dan was taken away, Sang Mo cannot control his anger. Let's go. Sang Mo lifts his red robe and raises his speed to another level, rushing directly towards the place where Qin Yu is at the moment. On one side, the man of the green-eyed fish clan and more than 20 clansmen also follow Sang Mo towards Qin Yu. 300 li is really very short for Zuyoists. Before long, Sang Mo is only several tens li away from Qin Yu. Inside the rock, Qin Yu, whose holy sense has been on high alert all along, suddenly changes color in his face. He opens his eyes at once. His holy sense has discovered clearly that Sang Mo is rushing over from the northeast with quite a few experts. Luckily, his holy sense is a bit stronger than before and its range has also increased a lot. Seeing Sang Mo rushing over in such a straight line and seeing the expression on his face, Qin Yu is 90% sure that Sang Mo knows where he is. Basically having no time to think about how the other party knows where he is, Qin Yu leaves the rock extremely fast. Stepping on his flying sword, he uses the man weapon unification and rushes south. Sang Mo does not use his true body to chase after him, so naturally his speed is not as fast as Qin Yu's. No good. The murderer seems to have discovered us and is already running south. The man of the green-eyed fish clan immediately becomes very worried. Sang Mo's face changes color. The man of the green-eyed fish clan says again, the murderer is extremely fast. My children simply can't keep up. Maybe the fish controlled by my other clansmen can discover the murderer, but my other clansmen are still in the Sang clan's palace. Sang Mo did not expect to be discovered by Qin Yu in advance, so he only brought a man of the green-eyed fish clan with him. It's all right. I've arranged my clansmen in other directions. A murderous look appears on Sang Mo's face. At the same time, he lifts his red robe and his whole body turns into a red giant octopus. With a shake of his 8 tentacles, he chases south like a beam of light. His speed is a bit faster than Qin Yu's man-weapon unification. Oh! Qin Yu, who is flying south extremely fast, suddenly stops. There are people. His holy sense has clearly discovered that there are 10-odd octopus clansmen several tens li away. Even though he has only discovered 10-odd so far, who knows if there are even more. Combined with the fact that Sang Mo was rushing directly towards him just now, Qin Yu has a conclusion. Sang Mo knows where I am and has even formed an encirclement. After Qin Yu stopped for a while, Qin Yu's holy sense discovered that there is a huge red giant octopus coming from several tens of li away. It's Sang Mo. Qin Yu's face suddenly changes color. Chapter 107. Qin Yu was only at the middle stage of the nebula stage, while Sang Mo was at the early stage of the Yuanying stage. Moreover, his body was an octopus with extremely strong attack power. Once Qin Yu encountered Sang Mo, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. Therefore, Qin Yu's reaction was, west. Qin Yu simply couldn't care about anything else. He immediately changed direction and flew towards the west at an astonishing speed. Qin Yu relied on the fact that his spiritual senses range was larger than that of Sang Mo's by quite a bit. Because of this distance, Qin Yu could discover Sang Mo, while Sang Mo couldn't discover Qin Yu. Meanwhile, Sang Mo was still rushing towards the south. In just a moment, the distance between the two of them was 100 li, as expected. A cold light flashed in Qin Yu's eyes. His spiritual sense clearly discovered that there were also a dozen octopuses waiting in the west. Qin Yu gritted his teeth and used his fastest speed to transform into a streak of light, rushing towards the west without regard for anything else. The west region was also very large. The opponent's dozen octopuses used their spiritual sense to cover a large area. Whoosh! A streak of light shuttled through the area covered by an octopus. The Sang clansman immediately let out a strange growl. "Murderer, it's the murderer!" The Sang clansman's unique language shocked the surrounding dozen Sang clansmen. The leader of this group immediately took out a transmission talisman. Clan leader, the murderer escaped from the west. The giant octopus moved several hundred li to the south. However, he suddenly sensed a message from the transmission talisman. His expression immediately changed, and he let out an extremely angry growl. At the same time, his figure changed again and he rushed towards the west. This Sang Mo's body was extremely fast. However, at this moment, Qin Yu changed direction again. "Humph! Chase me! Slowly run!" Qin Yu changed his direction again. He was no longer flying toward the west, but toward the south. This time, no one reported Qin Yu's whereabouts to Sang Mo. Although Sang Mo's speed was fast, he was not going in the same direction. The distance between them was only increasing. He traveled 1,000 miles towards the south at an extremely fast speed. Then, he changed direction again and flew towards the east for another 1,000 miles. However, flying towards the southeast, Sang Mo simply does not know which direction Qin Yu is in. After chasing for half a day without finding any trace of him, he has no choice but to admit that he has failed in this pursuit. He has no choice but to return to his lair in anger and helplessness. In the palace of the Sang tribe, the green-eyed fish clan man smiled and said, "Senior Sang Mo, please rest assured. This time you have invited 30 of our clansmen. With our searching methods, the murderer will definitely not be able to escape our pursuit." The green-eyed fish clan man seemed very confident. Sang Mo lifted his red robe and angrily sat on the main seat of the main hall. How could Sang Mo not be angry when he went to catch the person with great fanfare, but the enemy escaped? At this time, another 3 green-eyed fish clan men walked into the main hall from the palace. They also had fish scales on their faces. When the 3 men saw Sang Mo, they bowed respectfully. Then, one of them said, "Senior Sang Mo, our children have already found traces of the murderer. Speak." Sang Mo was full of energy. His entire aura rose. The man said, "Senior, when you were chasing the murderer first flew to the west and then to the south. Although the process is not clear, he flew to the southeast. Now, he is about 7,000 miles to the southeast of the place where you were chasing him. Each of these men of the green-eyed fish clan is controlling no less than 1,000 fish. Every fish has become their eyes. Moreover, they can easily distinguish Qin Yu's identity through his flying speed and whether or not he has demonic energy. Without demonic qi, his speed was so fast. In this 100,000-mile area, other than Qin Yu, there were probably no other immortal cultivators." "Very good." Sang Mo suddenly stood up. Then, he snorted coldly to a member of the Sang clan in the main hall. "Sang Lonpu, it's useless to ask you to do something. Give the message to the green-eyed fish clan members." Sang Mo was clearly very dissatisfied with the way his clan members handled things. The Sang Lonpu clan member immediately took out the message and gave it to a green-eyed fish clan man. Sang Mo stared at the green-eyed fish clan man and said coldly, "This time, no matter what, I won't let that bastard escape. Your green-eyed fish clan people are in the palace. 30 brothers will work together. If there is any news, send it to me through the message." Last time, there were no other green-eyed fish clan members to send news. This time, Sang Mo learned his lesson. He directly gave the message to one of them and told them to stay in the palace. If anyone had any news, they could send it to him. "Senior Sang Mo, please rest assured. The fish controlled by the 30 of us are almost one every few hundred miles. As long as the murderer moves and is discovered by the fish, he won't be able to escape our control." The green-eyed fish clan man was very confident. Sang Mo nodded with satisfaction. "Senior, this is the area where the murderer is at the moment. He directly handed a jade slip to Sang Mo. Sang Mo scanned it with his spiritual sense and immediately knew where the area was. Sang Mo's face showed a trace of a sinister smile. This time, no matter what, you can't escape, immortal cultivator bastard. With a roll of his red robe, Sang Mo's whole person flew out of the main hall. Qin Yu lazily nestled next to a reef at the bottom of the water. The clothes on his body had the effect of repelling water. At this moment, Qin Yu's brows were deeply furrowed. Obviously, he was thinking, "Then how did Sang Mo find out where I was hiding?" At this moment, Qin Yu still couldn't understand. He had been very careful. According to his thinking, he shouldn't have left any clues. After thinking for a moment, Qin Yu pressed his temple. After leaving the Qianlong continent and coming to the underwater monster beast world, Qin Yu didn't have a moment of quiet rest. He was too tired. Father should be very happy now. Qin Yu couldn't help but have a quiet smile on his face. His father enjoyed a peaceful life in the Qianlong continent, but Qin Yu lived in a life and death situation. Moreover, the enemy could appear at any time. The fish in the sea are really beautiful. Qin Yu waved his hand, and the surrounding hundreds of fish happily swam away. The fish in the sea were the most numerous. Sometimes thousands of fish swam together. Flying among the fish was also a kind of enjoyment. However, Qin Yu simply didn't know that among these hundreds of fish, there was a fish that was slightly different. This was a special secret skill of the green-eyed fish clan, so Qin Yu simply couldn't discover it. After resting for a while, Qin Yu set out again. There were still many Zuyoists in the sea, but most of them were only at the Jindan stage in this area of 100,000 li. Very few early Yuanying stage Zuyoists had already been discovered by Qin Yu's holy sense long before they discovered Qin Yu. Qin Yu dodged all the way. Even though it was thrilling, it wasn't very dangerous. Very good. Let's practice the Northern Darkness technique again here. Qin Yu saw a huge coral mountain. Layer upon layer, Qin Yu directly went through a crack in it. Then his stellar energy vibrated, directly forming a cave. Sitting in this cave, Qin Yu slightly tidied himself up. In terms of attack, he should be pretty good. Not only is he good at close combat, he can also control the flaming sword to attack from a distance. He can both attack from a distance and at close combat. Moreover, he can also use some unique skills of the stellar transformations technique. As for escaping, his body is comparable to a holy weapon, so there is almost no resistance when he flies. Once he unites with his weapon, his speed will indeed be astonishingly fast. Apart from this, he also knows some relatively strange and special skills, Xiaomao secret skills. Whether I'm escaping or experiencing the world of Zuyoists, I have to learn the Northern Darkness technique first. Qin Yu immediately sits down with legs crossed and starts to practice. Once again, he controls a wisp of stellar energy to go up to his mind. His soul energy is misty and illusory, like an empty existence. But stellar energy is a substantial force. Stellar energy shuttles through his soul energy. Qin Yu simply can't understand how this stellar energy can merge with his soul energy. But there are only 2 words on that Xiaomao book. Try. Try again and again. Even the creator has tried many times and then inexplicably succeeded. Even the creator himself didn't know the reason behind his success. Trying again and again, Qin Yu is not worried at all. He has already made preparations. At worst, he will do closed-door training here for a month and give it a good try. He estimates that after a month, Sang Mo won't be able to find him and his pursuit will also slow down. However, when Qin Yu has just started to practice for half a day, Senior Sang Mo, according to my children's information, he should be between 100 li to 200 li to the south of you. As for the detailed area, I don't know. The man of the green-eyed fish clan sends a message. When Qin Yu chose the location for closed-door training, there were no fish controlled by the green-eyed fish clan in the surroundings. But there were fish within 100 li of this location that found Qin Yu flying here and then disappearing. Naturally, they concluded that Qin Yu was here. Very good, very good. Sang Mo's scarlet tongue stretched out, and there was a grin on his face. He did not transform into an octopus, but quietly approached the area where Qin Yu was in his human form. At the same time, his spiritual awareness was also open to the limit, searching carefully. Qin Yu, who was in the middle of cultivation, tried again and again without arrogance and impatience. Every time he reflected on his mistakes, he tried again and again. Sang-mo. Qin Yu's eyes suddenly opened, and his cultivation almost stopped in an instant. Even in the middle of cultivation, Qin Yu's spiritual awareness was always on guard. He suddenly discovered that Sang-mo was already close. And in an instant, Sang-mo, who was moving at a very fast speed, had already passed the distance between him and Qin Yu's spiritual awareness. Qin Yu did not care about anything else at all. He directly crashed through the coral and rushed out. Then he directly drove the flaming sword, launched the human weapon Unity, and flew to the east at the fastest speed. Sang-mo's spiritual awareness had just discovered Qin Yu's aura, and then Qin Yu ran away again. "This time you can't escape." Sang-mo had a sneer on his face, and his body turned into a huge red octopus in an instant. At the same time, Sang-mo also gave orders to the 30 green-eyed fish clan members in the Sang clan's palace through the transmitter. "Green-eyed fish clan members, you all control carefully for me. You will convey the traces of that immortal cultivator to me at any time." As the spiritual awareness was conveyed, Sang-mo chased after Qin Yu. However, even if Sang-mo's speed was a bit faster than Qin Yu's, Sang-mo found that his spiritual awareness could no longer find Qin Yu's aura. Sang-mo immediately determined that the hateful immortal cultivator had changed his direction again. In which direction did Qin Yu escape? Sang-mo could not determine. Senior Sang-mo, the murderer, is 150 miles south of Senior, and is now flying south at a very fast speed. The message from the green-eyed fish clan man made Sang-mo overjoyed. Sang-mo immediately rushed to the place where Qin Yu was. They were 150 miles apart, but the two were flying in the same direction. It took a while for Sang-mo to gradually get close to Qin Yu. Qin Yu, who had his spiritual awareness spread out, suddenly found Sang-mo dozens of miles behind him. "Sang-mo, how did he know the direction I was escaping in?" Qin Yu knew that something was wrong. He immediately changed his direction again, and immediately pulled apart the distance again. After a while, Qin Yu found Sang-mo's trace not far behind him. Qin Yu, with anger and confusion, changed his direction again, and immediately pulled apart the distance between him and Sang-mo. However, not long after, Sang-mo approached again. "How does this bastard always know the direction I change?" Qin Yu's eyes flashed coldly. Obviously, he was angry. Sang-mo, who was behind him, was also angry. "Immortal cultivator, hateful immortal cultivator, how does he always know my pursuit in advance, and always changes his direction in advance? Could it be that the range of his spiritual awareness is larger than mine?" Sang-mo could not accept this result. The person being chased and the person who was chasing were both angry. East. Qin Yu changed his direction again, but this time Qin Yu was not lucky, because there was a fish in the place where he changed his direction, and this fish was a fish controlled by the green-eyed fish clan. Senior Sang-mo, east, he fled to the east. Sang-mo almost did not take a detour this time, and directly flew to the east, and suddenly the distance between him and Qin Yu was close. Qin Yu, who originally thought that Sang-mo had been pulled away again, was so scared that cold sweat came out, and at the same time, his anger rose. "Even a clay figurine has 3 points of anger, Sang-mo, don't provoke me." Qin Yu began to have killing intent in his heart. Chapter 108. Qin Yu kept changing directions. Whenever Sang-mo got close, Qin Yu would change directions. Sang-mo also relied on the green-eyed fish clan's repeated notifications, and was never too far away from Qin Yu. The two had been chasing each other for half a day. More people. Qin Yu cursed in his heart. At this moment, his spiritual awareness detected the Sang clan members in front of him. Qin Yu immediately changed directions again. Now, not only did he have to escape from Sang-mo's pursuit, He also had to be careful of the surrounding Sang clan members sent by Sang Mo. Ever since Sang Mo was shaken off by Qin Yu again and again, he ordered the Sang clan's clansmen to surround and capture Qin Yu in an area of 10,000 li in radius. Thanks to the encirclement of these Sang clan's clansmen, Qin Yu is obviously in a much more difficult situation. He had clearly just turned to avoid Sang Mo, but suddenly discovered the Sang clan members not far away. Senior Sang Mo, that Qin Yu is about 120 miles south of you. The green-eyed fish clan member sent another message. At this moment, Sang Mo's eyes were slightly red. Clearly, anger was burning in his chest. Even after receiving this message, he was not as excited as before. Because he knew that even with the green-eyed fish clan's repeated notifications, it would be very difficult for him to catch the culprit. This immortal cultivator is more slippery than a loach. At this moment, Sang Mo still did not know Qin Yu's name. But how could he not avenge his son's death? Sang Mo chased after him again. After a long time. This time, no matter how much Sang Mo chased, he did not discover Qin Yu. Even the green-eyed fish clan did not discover Qin Yu's aura. Even the Sang clan members did not discover Qin Yu. It was as if Qin Yu had suddenly disappeared. Under the surveillance of a feather every several hundred li and the scanning of the Sang clan's members and Sang Mo's holy senses, Qin Yu disappears just like that. Clan leader. The Sang clansmen looked at Sang Mo, not knowing what to do. If they couldn't find him, what could they do? Sang Mo, on the other hand, was very angry. He had used such a formation and even invited the green-eyed fish clan. He, the Sang clan leader, had personally chased for so long, but he still hadn't caught a small cultivator. How could Sang Mo not be angry? This Xiaoxianist, one day I'll skin him alive, throw him into a mystical chi ant nest and let him be bitten by tens of thousands of ants. Only after he wails in agony for 3 days will he die. Sang Mo's eyes are filled with hatred. His son's death had already made Sang Mo extremely angry, and after chasing after Qin Yu for so long, of course, Sang Mo was even more furious. Clan leader, is this enough to vent your anger? We should cut off his manhood first. Clan leader, do you remember that there is a group of perverts not far from the west of our palace? Let them take turns with this brat for 3 days. A Sang clansman flatteringly offered a punishment method. Sang Mo's eyes immediately brightened. He seemed very satisfied. Another member of the Sang clan hurriedly said, "Clansman, I have heard of a kind of punishment called sitting. There is a sharp piece of iron in the shape of a cleaver, and then we let him sit down with his legs open. We sealed his Jin Dan and let him feel the pain in his buttocks." One after another, the Sang clansmen offered one vicious punishment method after another. Zuyoists have been practicing for a long time. Some Zuyoists were very bored, so they developed some torturing methods. Sometimes they would catch some mortals and test them on some deserted islands. Sang Mo was very satisfied to hear this. Only in this way could he vent his anger. Very good. But if we can't catch him, everything will be meaningless. As soon as Sang Mo thinks of how difficult Qin Yu is to deal with, his face darkens again. All right, stop the chase for the moment. At the same time, Sang Mo gave an order to the green-eyed fish clan through a transmitter. Green-eyed fish clan members, you must pay close attention. Once that Xiaoxianist appears, you must tell me immediately. After giving the order, Sang Mo himself takes the lead to leave. He is much faster than ordinary octopuses, so he has no patience to wait for these clansmen to fly slowly. Those Sang clansmen also split up into groups of 3 or 5 and either returned to the Sang clan's palace or went to other places. An hour after they left, the ground unexpectedly moves in the place where Sang Mo and the others were just now. Then a figure comes out of the ground. It is none other than Qin Yu. The Sang clan. Qin Yu's eyes are full of coldness. An hour ago, Qin Yu, who was chased by Sang Mo to the point that he had nowhere to run, was also enraged by the chase. He directly dived into the ground and at the same time gathered all of his stellar energy without using any stellar energy and restrained all of his aura. He won the bet. Sang Mo really didn't discover Qin Yu. Once a person doesn't use any internal energy and restrains his aura, other people simply won't be able to discover his aura. Unless they discover the opponent's holy sense, but Qin Yu's holy sense is higher than Sang Mo's. Pooh! Qin Yu shoots up into the sky like a sharp arrow. At the moment, Qin Yu is only 4 to 5 kilometers away from the surface of the sea. Qin Yu breaks out of the water in an instant and goes directly into the sky. Someone's here. Qin Yu immediately discovers that there are Zuyoists on the surface of the sea who seem to be searching for something. Moreover, Qin Yu also discovers that there are familiar figures among those searching Zuyoists. They are the Sang clansmen Qin Yu has seen before. Looks like Sang Mo hasn't given up yet. Qin Yu rapidly dives into the water. His heart is filled with fury. Even though he is being chased, Qin Yu has never thought about escaping above the surface of the sea. This is because Qin Yu knows very well that it will be even more dangerous for him above the surface of the sea. Firstly, Zuyoists can also fly. Moreover, an ordinary Zuyoist can only dive 4 to 5 kilometers deep into the sea. However, the range of an ordinary expert's holy sense is over 10 kilometers. With a sweep of the holy sense, not only can it scan the sea, it can also scan the sky. Secondly, the surface of the sea is empty. Once a person appears, he or she will be discovered immediately. At any rate, there are all kinds of corals, reefs and even underwater mountain ranges at the bottom of the sea as camouflage and so on. Thirdly, Qin Yu is currently in an area of 100,000 li in radius near the sea. This kind of coastal area is completely the world of Zuyoists. The nearest Xiaxianists and Xiamoists are more than 100,000 li away from the sea. Some Zuyoists may be on some deserted islands near the sea. Fourthly, there is another reason. You can't fly as high as you want in the sky. Qin Yu knows very well that the higher he flies, the more dangerous it is in the sky. After reaching a certain height, Qin Yu can't fly any higher. Moreover, according to his master Lei Wei's description, there are many terrifying dangers high up in the sky. If even Lei Wei calls them terrifying, one can imagine how dangerous it is at an extremely high altitude. You can't fly too high in the sky. Moreover, the sky is empty. Once you are discovered, you won't even have a place to run. What can Qin Yu do? He can only choose to stay at the bottom of the sea. After all, he can fish in troubled waters there. Clan leader said that Xiaxianist might be able to ride a flying sword at any time. Brothers, you must watch carefully. A member of the Sang clan shouts. Another member of the Sang clan says carelessly, "Big brother, don't be so serious." Not only our Sang clan, many Zuyoists who covet middle-grade holy weapons are also secretly paying attention. If that Xiaxianist brat is careless. Ha ha ha. This member of the Sang clan laughs extremely sinisterly. Qin Yu exerts strength in his hands and swims in the sea like a fish. After being tempered, Qin Yu's body is comparable to a holy weapon. His strength is also terrifyingly great. Even though he is only using his muscles, Qin Yu is still shuttling back and forth like a sharp arrow. Sang Mo, I can't let you chase me all the time. It's time for you to relax. Qin Yu unfolds his holy sense and shakes his arms. His whole body swims extremely fast like a fish. Without using stellar energy, Qin Yu's speed is probably only 10% of his previous speed. However, for Qin Yu, this is already enough. Hey, big brother, where do you think that Xiaxianist is hiding? Forget it. Even the clan leader has gone back. Let's also take a rest. Two members of the Sang clan walk side by side. During this period of time, the Sang clan's members have been worried about Qin Yu. Big brother, I didn't expect a good-for-nothing demonic beast to attack us. A member of the Sang clan says cheerfully. He suddenly turns around and makes a chopping motion with one hand. However, what he sees is Qin Yu's flaming sword, which pierces his throat directly. Almost at the same time, Qin Yu's left hand also pierces the chest of the other member of the Sang clan. A good-for-nothing demonic beast? Qin Yu takes 2 Jin Dan pills and leaves directly. Qin Yu is shuttling back and forth like this without using stellar energy. Even though Zuyoists can't sense him, when Qin Yu gets close to them to launch a sneak attack, they will sense the fluctuations of the water. Just now, that member of the Sang clan thought it was an ordinary shock attack. After all, he didn't sense any aura of energy. With this attack, Qin Yu's counterattack finally begins. Even after being surrounded by so many members of the Sang Mo clan, Qin Yu still hasn't been caught. It is really very easy for him to avoid being hunted down. On the first day, Qin Yu only kills 2 people. Afterwards, he is discovered by the Green-Eyed Fish clan. However, right after that, Qin Yu evades them again. This time, Qin Yu is silent for 3 days. During these 3 days, Qin Yu has been quietly refining the Jin Dan pills. If a Zuyoist comes across, Qin Yu will stop refining and the Zuyoists will leave Qin Yu to continue refining. After 3 days, the 2 Jin Dan pills are completely refined by Qin Yu. Afterwards, Qin Yu sets out again. However, this time, Qin Yu is not so lucky. It takes him several days to discover the Sang clan's people. Moreover, there are 3 of them together. This time, Qin Yu goes crazy. His stellar force bursts out and he engages in close combat. 2 middle-stage Jin Dan Sang clansmen and 1 late-stage Jin Dan Sang clansman are killed by Qin Yu in one go. Afterwards, Qin Yu goes silent again. This time, Qin Yu stays silent for 10 whole days. 10 days later, Qin Yu sets out again. For 3 whole months, Qin Yu has killed 16 Sang clan's people. Knowing that their clansmen are dying one by one, these Sang clan's people seem to be terrified. Afterwards, they always gather in large groups, making it difficult for Qin Yu to move around. However, Qin Yu is very daring. Even when a group of Sang clan's people gathers together, Qin Yu still dares to launch a sneak attack. Afterwards, he uses the one with the weapon technique to escape. As his power slowly increases, the speed of Qin Yu's one with the weapon also increases. It is even close to the fastest speed of Sang Mo's main body. Sneak attacks, using the one with the weapon technique to escape, while restraining his stellar force and using his muscle strength to shuttle through the water, making it impossible for the enemy to detect his tracks. Even if the Green-Eyed Fish clan discovers him, they can use their spiritual sense to escape first. Qin Yu's eyes had turned red from killing. His eyes had turned red from killing. Sang Mo, you wanted to deal with me first. Therefore, don't blame me for destroying your Sang clan. Sang Mo holds the jade slip in his hand. The jade slip contains Qin Yu's spiritual sense message. This is the jade slip that Qin Yu left behind after killing a Sang clan's clansman. Sang Mo can clearly feel the killing intent in the words. There is no need to doubt Qin Yu's killing intent. In just half a year, 32 clansmen have died. This is the proof. Sang Mo's hands are shaking, the muscles on his face twitching. There are less than 200 Sang clan members who have reached the Jin Dan stage. In just half a year, 32 of them have died. At this rate, his Sang clan will be finished within 5 years. But Sang Mo's current speed is almost the same as Qin Yu's. Qin Yu seems to be able to detect his movements one step earlier every time. Sang Mo cannot catch Qin Yu at all. After half a year of pursuit, Sang Mo has already admitted that he cannot catch him. Good. Sang Mo says good 3 times in a row. Then, with a red flash in his eyes, Sang Mo takes out a transmission token. After thinking for a moment, he clenches his teeth and directly sends a message with his spiritual sense. Vice Cave Master, increase the reward of the bounty. Not only will you give me a mid-grade spirit weapon, but also add my Thunder Hammer. Thunder Hammer, a high-grade spirit weapon. In Sang Mo's heart, it is even more important than his son. Making this decision is like digging out a piece of flesh from Sang Mo's heart. A high-grade spirit weapon, even a Yuanying stage expert would covet it. Sang Mo also knows that many Yuanying stage experts covet this high-grade spirit weapon, Thunder Hammer. Among them is the Red Blood Cave's Vice Cave Master, Chago. If you want to destroy my clan, then let's see if you can survive against those Yuanying stage experts. Sang Mo says slowly in a low voice. But his low and hoarse voice resounds through the hall, making one's hair stand on end. Chapter 109. Blood-Red Ridge. Inside the Blood-Red Cave. Hey, Sangamo really can't sit still. He's even willing to take out his treasured thunder hammer. Chago, who was wearing a red robe, had a smile on his face. Obviously, he was in a very good mood. Chago had been waiting for this day. The nearby silver armor protector, who conveyed the message, slightly bowed and said, "Vice Cave Master, this thunder hammer is a high-grade spiritual weapon. Moreover, the target is only a Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage. It's really too easy. The Blood-Red Ridge also has a lot of Yuanying stage experts. It's estimated that most of the Yuanying stage experts will set out." "You're wrong. This mission is not simple." Chago stood up, slightly raised his chin, and proudly said with a smile, "Let me ask you, the target is only a Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage. Why hasn't Sangamo been caught for such a long time?" The silver armor protector was also puzzled. That's right. A Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage. What is he relying on? Chago obviously had a card up his sleeve, and continued, "Let me remind you again. Sangamo also invited 30 members of the Green-Eyed Fish Clan." Green-Eyed Fish Clan? The silver armor protector was slightly startled. The northernmost waters of 100,000 li were really too far away from the Blood-Red Ridge. It was millions of li away. Sangmo's method of hunting down Qin Yu was unknown to most people. Chago also relied on the information from the Red Blood Cave to find out. The Green-Eyed Fish Clan's secret technique of controlling fish is very powerful. Zyuxionists don't have any demon aura, so it's certainly easy to find out. If it's found out, coupled with Sangmo's strength, it should be very easy to catch that Zyuxionist. The silver armor protector inferred. But when he thought about how Sangamo hadn't been able to catch the immortal cultivator after such a long time, the silver armor protector couldn't help but be puzzled. Why can't we catch him? Could it be that this cultivator has some kind of secret technique? The silver armor protector muttered to himself. He really couldn't figure it out. Chagu, however, looks at the silver-armored protector and says with a confident smile, "That's right, why? In my opinion, there are only two answers. Firstly, that immortal cultivator had a secret technique to hide his aura, making it impossible for Sangamo to track him down. Secondly, that immortal cultivator's flying sword was very fast, so fast that even Sangamo couldn't catch up." The silver armor protector nodded thoughtfully. "Hiding his aura in front of Sangamo, I reckon that a Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage would have a hard time doing so." The silver armor protector thought for a moment and said. Chago nodded. "Yes, so it's very likely that this Zyuxionist's speed was too fast, making it impossible for Sangamo to catch up. And according to what I know, Sangamo has chased that Zyuxionist many times. Even when they were dozens of miles apart, the Zyuxionist still managed to escape." The silver armor protector said in surprise, "What a fast speed. Vice Cave Master, Sangmo's true form is an octopus. When he fully unleashes his speed, even I can't catch up. How could a Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage shake off Sangamo?" The smile on Chago's face brightened, and his lips softly spat out two words. "Flying sword." The silver armor protector stared blankly, but after a moment, his eyes blazed. His cultivation level wasn't high, but his art of sword flight was fast. It was very likely that the art of sword flight was high or low in quality. Of course, it could also be due to a special art of sword flight. But in his heart, Chago believed that the Zyuxionist's art of sword flight was high in quality. According to what I know, this Zyuxionist's art of sword flight is at least a high-grade holy weapon. Chago actually wanted to say, supreme-grade holy weapon. After all, he knew how freakish Sangmo's speed was. But how could a Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage possess a supreme-grade holy weapon? After all, even for a Dongshu stage expert, possessing a supreme-grade holy weapon was an extremely extravagant thing. In the overseas Zyuxionist world, there probably wasn't a single sect that would be willing to give a supreme-grade holy weapon to a Zyuxionist who hasn't even reached the Yuanying stage. Even if it was a high-grade holy weapon, it would still be hard to believe. Perhaps that Zyuxionist had some sort of fortuitous encounter and accidentally obtained a high-grade holy weapon. Chago thought to himself. Suddenly, clap, clap, clap. The sound of hands clapping could be heard from behind. A man who looked extremely similar to Chago walked out. Similarly, just by looking at this man's face, one would think of a sinister snake. This man was the other vice master of the cave, Chap. Third brother, what you said was very interesting. Do you mind if I join you in capturing that Zyuxionist? Chap said with a beaming smile. Chago's face changed slightly, but he was cursing in his heart. Mother Fastris Cur, Chap, even you have a high-grade holy weapon. I waited for the stars and the moon for the thunder hammer to appear. Just now, I received news that the Zyuxionist has at least one high-grade holy weapon. Double happiness, but at this time, you want to steal it from me? And you call yourself my brother? Chago was very angry in his heart. Although he tried to control himself, his face was still very unsightly. Second brother, it seems that big brother gave you the high-grade holy weapon he got last time. I didn't get anything, Chago said indignantly. He didn't say anything else, and only told him what had happened that time. Chap naturally understood when he heard this. Obviously, his third brother thought that he had come to steal the holy weapon from him. He immediately laughed and said, "Third brother, you are too stingy. You should know what kind of person I am. I already have a high-grade holy weapon. How could I covet other things? I just felt bored in the cave and wanted to go out with you for a walk." Really? Chago didn't believe him. Chap suddenly stared and said, "Third brother, I swear to the heavens that if I coveted that holy weapon, a bolt of heavenly lightning would strike me to death. Mother Fastris Cur, we are all brothers. Do you think I am the kind of person who covets his own brother's treasure?" Chago thought for a moment and believed him. He was very clear about his second brother's character. Just now, he was just worried and confused. He immediately laughed and said, "Second brother, don't be angry. Okay, let's go now." Chap laughed and said, "That's right. Okay, I'll send a message to Sang Mo and ask his 30 green-eyed fish clan members to help keep an eye on them. If anything happens, they will inform us." Wonderful. Let's go now. Chago also laughed. Then, the two vice masters of the Red Blood Cave left the Red Blood Cave together. The true form of the brothers Chago and Chap was blood-red aquatic python, which belonged to the top level among pythons. In terms of strength, even Chago, who was also in the early stage of yuaniing, was stronger than Sang Mo. Not to mention Chap, who was in the middle stage of yuaniing. A green underwater mountain range stretched for thousands of li. In a cave halfway up one of the mountain peaks, there was a person sitting cross-legged in cultivation. Illusory clouds and mist constantly revolved around his body. At the same time, there were 3 Jin Dan floating around his body. After a long time, the illusory clouds and mist completely converged and merged into the figure's body. At this moment, the figure's appearance became clear. It was Qin Yu. Compared to half a year ago, Qin Yu now had a hint of coldness between his eyebrows. Qin Yu's eyes suddenly opened, shooting out a cold and clear gaze. "After refining so many Jin Dan, I still haven't reached the late stage of Nebula Realm." Qin Yu's face had a hint of helplessness. When refining the Jin Dan, most of the impurities were burned away by the Star True Fire. In the end, only about 10% of the essence was absorbed. Although Qin Yu had killed 32 members of the Sang clan in this half a year, most of them were in the early stage of Jin Dan. A few were in the middle stage of Jin Dan, and only 3 were in the late stage of Jin Dan. According to Qin Yu's estimation, he would need to refine 10 Jin Dan in the late stage of Jin Dan to reach the late stage of Nebula Realm. In half a year, he had refined 32 Jin Dan, but the total amount was actually less than 10 Jin Dan in the late stage of Jin Dan. However, the difference wasn't too big. In addition to Qin Yu's daily cultivation, Qin Yu felt that the day he reached the late stage of Nebula Realm was coming soon. Right now, I'm almost at the peak of the middle stage of Nebula Realm. In terms of speed, I'm a bit faster than Sangamo. Qin Yu's face had a hint of a smile. In this half a year, Qin Yu didn't always hide in the northernmost region of 100,000 li. Qin Yu knew very well that that region had the most people searching for him. Therefore, even if Qin Yu wanted to escape, he would always rush towards the south. Either to the west, east, or south, but Qin Yu never turned back towards the north. In half a year, whether Qin Yu was cultivating, hunting, or rushing towards the south, he had actually advanced more than 1,000,000 li. When Qin Yu killed those members of the Sang clan, he had also used the soul-searching technique. Qin Yu finally understood why he was always discovered. Green-eyed fish clan members. Qin Yu's heart was full of helplessness. The fish controlled by the green-eyed fish clan members were no different from ordinary fish. At least, Qin Yu couldn't find the difference. Moreover, in the boundless sea, there were a lot of fish. Qin Yu really couldn't avoid those fish that were spying on him. Therefore, Qin Yu could only try his best to avoid the fish, but he could still be discovered. Only when he paid attention to the fish, Qin Yu was discovered a lot less. Xiao Hei is actually faster than me. He's still in the southwest direction. Qin Yu closed his eyes. His heart could sense Xiao Hei's general direction. Some time ago, Qin Yu had felt that Xiao Hei wasn't too far away from him, but Xiao Hei seemed to be pursued, and was constantly rushing towards the south. At that time Qin Yu was very worried because Xiao Hei was running extremely fast instead of reuniting with him, so he must have run into some kind of danger. At that time Qin Yu risked his life to chase after Xiao Hei to the south. However, the more he chased after Xiao Hei, the greater the distance between him and Xiao Hei became. At that time, Qin Yu judged that Xiao Hei was too fast, much faster than when he used the passing lightning 9 flashes. It was even possible that he was twice as fast. Qin Yu couldn't catch up. In the end, he could only give up helplessly. Xiao Hei was so fast. Qin Yu also guessed why Xiao Hei was so fast. He once thought that Xiao Hei had swallowed many demonic beasts to increase his power greatly. He also thought that Xiao Hei might have used some special running skill. But Qin Yu never thought that Xiao Hei would use a forbidden art to completely change himself. To some extent, Xiao Hei has really been reborn and is completely different from the past. However, since it was a forbidden technique, it wasn't perfect either. I've been separated from Xiao Hei for half a year now. Qin Yu gives a faint smile, then turns into a beam of light and goes straight out of the cave, then rushes towards the southwest. Qin Yu usually rushes in the direction of Xiao Hei, unless he encounters some Zuoists. Oh, Xiao Hei is also flying towards me. Qin Yu's face immediately brightens. He also rushes in the direction of Xiao Hei at once. But traveling is secondary. On the way, Qin Yu won't show any mercy if he encounters some ignorant Sang clansmen who still want to hunt him down. He either rushes on the way or cultivates. 3 months have passed. These 3 months have been very strange. The Sang clansmen seem to have stopped hunting him down. Qin Yu hasn't seen any Sang clansmen at all. Naturally, he rushes on the way much faster. In just 3 months, he has covered about the same distance as in the past half a year. Qin Yu has already flown over 1,000,000 li. After flying so far, Qin Yu sighs with emotion. Xiao Hei is flying towards him. A man and an eagle have been flying for such a long time, but they still haven't met up. It is easy to imagine how far Xiao Hei has flown before. Qin Yu is now about 3,000,000 li away from the Qianlong continent. In these 3 months, Xiao Hei has definitely flown as far as Qin Yu. In other words, in the first half year, Xiao Hei has flown at least 4 to 5 million li or even longer. Even though Xiao Hei hasn't been hunted down as much as Qin Yu, Xiao Hei has flown so far in just half a year. From this, one can imagine how terrifyingly fast Xiao Hei is. Standing on his flying sword, Qin Yu rushes to the bottom of the sea. His heart is filled with joy. He has a feeling that Xiao Hei is now only several tens of thousands li away from him and that the two brothers will be able to meet up in less than a day. This feeling is very wonderful, but Qin Yu believes it very much. Xiao Hei, I'm coming. Like a beam of light, he streaks across the endless sea. Qin Yu's speed has completely reached the limit. Shagon and Chap are shuttling back and forth on their flying swords among the shoals of fish and corals at the bottom of the sea. In the last 3 months, the two brothers have been very comfortable. They have been hurrying eastwards while eating and drinking at some zooists' residences. Second brother, those members of the green-eyed fish clan are really useless. Shagon says hatefully. The green-eyed fish clan's efficiency in inquiring about Qin Yu is now much lower. Of course, this is because Qin Yu knows that they are shoals of fish when he uses soul-searching and often avoids them. Now the green-eyed fish clan's members only get a message every 1 or 2 days. They just got the message the day before yesterday. According to reason, Qin Yu should be only 100,000 li away from the two brothers. Chap says with a smile, "Don't worry. According to the message the day before yesterday, and considering that Xiaxionist's speed, I reckon that Xiaxionist is very close to us. We might encounter him at any time in the next 2 days. You have to be careful with your holy sense. Don't worry, I definitely won't let him go." There is a faint evil smile on the corners of Shagon's mouth. Chago has been waiting for a high-grade holy weapon for a long time. Suddenly Chap's eyes brighten, and he says, "Ha, a late Jean Dan Black Eagle. A bird has actually reached the bottom of the sea. It's really rare. Third brother, you stay here first. I haven't tasted a bird for a long time." After saying, Chap turns into a beam of light and shoots towards the north. Second brother, wait for me. I'll also have a taste. Shagon laughs out loud, then also turns into a beam of light and chases after Chap. Chapter 110. Big Brother. Xiao Hei shuttles extremely fast like a black beam of light. His eagle eyes glitter with excitement. He can feel that Qin Yu is very close to him. It won't be long before they can meet. After all, they have been separated for a very long time. On the Qianlong continent, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei have never been separated for such a long time. Now that they are about to meet again, of course they are very excited. No good, there are some people. Xiao Hei's holy sense immediately detects 2 zooists rushing towards him extremely fast. Just by sensing them with his holy sense, Xiao Hei is certain that these 2 zooists are absolute experts. Unlike Qin Yu, who has been nourished by Lu Xing's tears, Xiao Hei's holy sense is not very formidable. That chap is even at the middle stage of yuanying, so Xiao Hei's holy sense is naturally inferior to theirs. In an instant, 2 silhouettes appear in front of Xiao Hei. They are none other than the 2 vice masters of the Red Blood Cave, Chago and Chap. Ha, it's really a bird. A bird running to the bottom of the sea is really courting death. Chago says in a strange tone. Faint gloomy rays of light flash through his eyes from time to time. His blood-red robe gives off a gloomy and cold aura. Looking at Xiao Hei, Chap directly reaches out his hand to grab Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei stares at these 2 zooists. He suddenly flaps his wings. Because he is extremely fast, he directly slaps Chap's hand like a black blur. Chap's hand is unexpectedly slapped and blood seeps out from his watch. "You actually dared to injure me." Chap's eyes suddenly shine brightly. Obviously he is extremely furious. In Chap's eyes, a late Jean Dan bird is simply a piece of cake. After all, the 2 of them are simply not on the same level. Ha. Second brother, you were actually injured by a bird that hasn't even reached the yuanying realm. It's really too funny. Chago was gloating at the side, stroking his stomach and laughing loudly. Chap naturally understood that Chago was doing this on purpose. "Puny bird, you dare to injure me? Don't blame me for being merciless," Chap said coldly. Then, his figure turned into a blur as he attacked Xiao Hei. After all, Chap was a mid-stage yuanying expert. Even if he didn't transform into his true form, he was still much faster than Sang Mo. Unfortunately, Xiao Hei was no longer the Xiao Hei of half a year ago. After devouring many demonic beasts, Xiao Hei broke through to the late Jean Dan stage from the middle Jean Dan stage. Thanks to the modification of the forbidden technique, Xiao Hei's speed is more than twice as fast as it was half a year ago. Now, even Qin Yu is far inferior to Xiao Hei. A black ray of light flashed extremely fast. What a fast speed! How can that bird be so fast at the bottom of the sea? Chago, who is watching the fight on one side, couldn't help but become astonished. He suddenly discovers that Xiao Hei's speed is even faster than Chap's. Following the extremely fast exchange of blows, Chap and Xiao Hei instantly separate. Chap looks coldly at Xiao Hei. No wonder a late Jin Dan bird dares to run amok at the bottom of the sea. It turns out it has some special skills. You're really fast. Perhaps no Zuioists of the same level can be faster than you. While saying so, Chap's left hand is actually dripping with blood. I have something important to do. Don't get in my way. Xiao Hei says coldly through his holy sense. Xiao Hei has also discovered that his opponent is very powerful. Moreover, his opponent has not revealed his true body, so Xiao Hei does not want to attack him forcefully. Wow, second brother, you were actually injured by a late Jin Dan bird. Chago's eyes brighten. He adds fuel to the fire by saying, if you can't beat him, you'd better not fight. Otherwise, it would be bad if you were killed by this bird. How about I help you, second brother? Chap's face turns cold. He shouts angrily, no need. You just watch on one side. Oh my, then I'll watch second brother's performance. Chago watches on one side and says no more. He also knows when to stop. After all, if he says too much, his second brother will go crazy. That will be a very frightening thing. Chap stretches out his hands. 2 daggers suddenly appear in his hands. Both daggers have a green light on their edges. Obviously, they are highly poisonous. I hate people who are arrogant the most. Especially arrogant people who are not strong enough. Chap says coldly. However, Xiao Hei simply does not say anything else. His pair of eagle eyes stare directly at Chap as if he wants to see through Chap's mind. Chap is very unhappy to be stared at by Xiao Hei. Growl. A deep growl comes out of Chap's mouth. On one side, Chago's face changes color. He thinks to himself, this is bad. Second brother has really gone crazy. Is this bird really worth him going crazy over? Chago immediately retreats several li away. Holding a dagger in each hand, Chap's speed reaches the limit. Transforming into a ray of light, he attacks Xiao Hei. Pa! Pa! Xiao Hei's eyes brighten. Suddenly, he sends out 2 blood-red lightning bolts. Yes, they are blood-red in color. It looks like a blood-red flame in the shape of a lightning strike. This is also the change that occurred after Xiao Hei used his forbidden technique. No matter how fast Chap is, he can't keep up with the speed of the lightning. Being hit by the lightning, he can't help but feel his body go numb. At the same time, Chago discovers that a strange energy has appeared. It seems to have the ability to devour and corrode. What is this? Chap is shocked. He immediately stimulates the energy in his body to resist. That strange energy is very corrosive. In an instant, it leaves a scar on Chap's body. Fortunately, Chap is fast enough to use the demonic elemental energy in his body to break through Xiao Hei's energy. Chap can no longer be careless. He gathers the demonic elemental energy in his body to protect himself, ready to be attacked by Xiao Hei at any time. Xiao Hei flaps his wings, sending out blood-red lightning bolts. Compared to the previous lightning bolts, the lightning bolts have the same lightning attribute attack power. At the same time, they also have the effect of devouring and corroding. Dozens of lightning bolts strike down, making Chap flustered. Roar. Chap opens his mouth and roars. Then, Chap's mouth unexpectedly begins to enlarge, turning into the mouth of a huge python. As for Chapa himself, he has turned into a terrifyingly huge blood-red boa. The blood-red aquatic python is nearly 100 meters long. Its body is twice as thick as a bucket. With a swing of its tail, the 100-meter-long python body moves. In an instant, the blood-red aquatic python's attack covers an area of several hundred meters. The blood-red aquatic python's speed is frightening. The several hundred meters are all red afterimages. Bang! Even though Xiao Hei's speed is astonishing, this middle Yuanying stage Cha Po's speed has become even more terrifying after transforming into his true form. A red afterimage flashes by and Xiao Hei is sent flying. Just now, Xiao Hei's body was severely whipped by the python's tail. I like to devour powerful demonic beasts the most. Chap's voice rises in Xiao Hei's mind through holy sense communication. Chap's huge blood-red aquatic python opens its terrifying mouth and rushes towards Xiao Hei at an extremely fast speed like a beam of light. Xiao Hei has excellent eagle eyes. Although the blood-red aquatic python is very fast, Xiao Hei can still clearly see its every move, even its tongue. Screech! Xiao Hei's eagle crown flickers with brilliance. A shrill eagle cry is heard. The sound waves cause the entire seabed to shake violently. At the same time, the sound waves spread in all directions, forming strong undercurrents. At the same time, the moonlight in the sky directly shines into the sea. What's going on? Chap is startled. The moonlight completely shines on Xiao Hei's body and spreads all over Xiao Hei's body. Completely shrouded in moonlight, Xiao Hei emits a terrifying aura. Chap is also shocked. He can clearly feel that terrifying aura. Not good. Xiao Hei is using that unique skill. Could it be that he's in danger? Hearing that shrill eagle cry, Qin Yu knows that the situation is bad. Xiao Hei used the same move against Xiang Yang last time. Qin Yu immediately speeds up. Unfortunately, Qin Yu's speed has already reached the limit. Even if he goes all out now, he can only increase his speed slightly. Chap has a bad feeling. All of a sudden, he lashes out with his python body. His python body indeed hits Xiao Hei's body. However, at this moment, Xiao Hei's body seems to be surrounded by a layer of air. Chap's attack is completely neutralized. Xiao Hei unfolds his wings and flaps them in a very relaxed manner. The brilliance immediately gathers towards the edges of his wings, then turns into two pale crescent-shaped brilliances and shoots towards Chap. Chap simply doesn't have time to dodge. The two crescent-shaped brilliances shoot towards Chap's body at an extremely fast speed. Chi-Chi. A strong corrosive force directly corrodes Chap's scales. Chap lets out a shrill cry. At the same time, surging streams of demonic elemental energy run through Chap's body. In just a short while, the two crescent-shaped brilliances disappear. Chap's true body is a blood-red aquatic python which is 100 m long. There are two sections of it that are 2 to 3 m long. Most of the scales on these sections have been corroded and even the flesh inside has been exposed. However, these are only flesh wounds. Roar! The blood-red aquatic python lets out a crazy roar. Soon after, the entire blood-red aquatic python turns into a red zigzagging lightning bolt and continuously whips towards Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei also turns into a black blur and keeps dodging. The fight between the eagle and the python is very fierce. Not good. This python's demonic elemental energy is really terrifyingly strong. Xiao Hei has a bad feeling. The demonic elemental energy of a middle-stage Yuanying is several times stronger than his. Moreover, blood-red aquatic pythons are also extremely terrifying pythons. In just a short while, the blood-red aquatic python scales have reappeared on its wounds. However, these scales are very weak. It's normal for a snake to shed its skin. After reaching the middle stage Yuanying, it's not difficult for a blood-red aquatic python to regenerate its scales. It's just that its defense isn't as strong as before. Go to hell. Chap's voice suddenly resounds in Xiao Hei's mind. The blood-red aquatic python shoots a cyan brilliance towards Xiao Hei from its mouth. Xiao Hei, who has rich battle experience, has long been vigilant. With a sweep of his holy sense, he knows that the cyan brilliance is a thin flying sword. Xiao Hei also opens his mouth and shoots out a thunderbolt. Bang! The thunderbolt and the cyan brilliance collide. Xiao Hei suddenly utters a cry of pain. Blood spurts out from his throat. That thunderbolt is the high-grade holy weapon Sharp All, forged by Xiao Hei. Although Chap's weapon is also a high-grade holy weapon, Chap's demonic elemental energy is several times stronger than Xiao Hei's. Xiao Hei was seriously injured in a battle of strength. Ha! A high-grade holy weapon. Chap becomes excited. Xiao Hei, however, flaps his wings and turns into a thin beam of black light. He splits the water and rushes away at an extremely fast speed. Don't even think about running away. Chap's huge blood-red aquatic python shuttles back and forth in the water like a red lightning bolt. The blood-red aquatic python and the eagle, one chasing the other, disappear in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Xiao Hei is running towards the south. Xiao Hei knows Qin Yu's power. Even he, who has reached the late stage of Jin Dan and used a forbidden technique, was no match for Chap. Qin Yu is just courting death. Xiao Hei naturally doesn't run in the direction of Qin Yu. A beam of light chases after him, then stops. It is none other than Chago. Chago looks in the direction where Chap disappeared and snorts coldly. He feels very helpless in his heart. His speed is much slower than Chap's. He has only chased for several tens of li when Chap and Xiao Hei disappear from the range of his holy sense. Xiao Hei, please be safe. Qin Yu is very anxious in his heart. He chases after Xiao Hei at an extremely fast speed. Breaking through the water and waves, his speed has reached the extreme. After a while, Qin Yu feels a chaotic aura. Qin Yu immediately stops. Looking at the blood floating in the sea, Qin Yu can clearly sense Xiao Hei's aura. This is the battlefield where Xiao Hei and Chap fought. The blood here is from both Xiao Hei and Chap. Xiao Hei fought here and was seriously injured. Qin Yu immediately deduces. Sensing that Xiao Hei is moving towards the south at a fast speed, it is obvious that Xiao Hei is still being chased by someone at this moment. In order not to implicate him, Xiao Hei is fleeing towards the south. Haha, I didn't expect my luck to change while my second brother is chasing the black eagle. Dear cultivator, I have been looking for you for a long, long time. Along with the laughter, a thin man in a red robe appeared not far from Qin Yu. That man's eyes flashed with a blazing light. Qin Yu's face changed. Because he found Xiao Hei's blood, Qin Yu's heart trembled for a moment. He was worried about Xiao Hei, so he did not pay attention to the surroundings. He did not expect that in such a short time, Chago, who did not catch up with his second brother, found Qin Yu. This Chago found that Qin Yu does not have any demonic aura. Coupled with the green-eyed fish clan's notice, the cultivator is in this area. Combining the two, he naturally deduces. Early Yuanying, and his demonic aura seems to be stronger than Sang Mo. Qin Yu suddenly judged. I am only at the nebula middle stage. Now I can't even deal with Sang Mo. This person in front of me seems to be no less than Sang Mo. Qin Yu made a decision in his mind. Who are you? Qin Yu said coldly. I am. Chago said proudly. But as soon as he said, I am, Qin Yu immediately stepped on his flying sword and used man-weapon unification to flee to the west. Almost in an instant, he was already several thousand meters away. Chago was furious. You dared to play with me. Chago immediately steps on his flying sword and chases after him. Blood-red aquatic pythons are exceptionally gifted and are much more powerful than octopuses. There is a clan of octopuses, but only a few blood-red aquatic pythons can be found in this clan. So fast. Qin Yu was shocked to find that Chago was actually able to keep up with him by stepping on his flying sword. After chasing for a while, Chago found that he was unable to close the distance between them. He unexpectedly let out a roar and transformed into a 70 to 80 m long blood-red aquatic python, scuttling after them at an extremely fast speed. This aquatic python's speed in the sea is simply frightening. The distance between Qin Yu and the blood-red aquatic python immediately shrunk extremely fast. Chapter 111. The blood-red aquatic python's huge body shuttles back and forth at the bottom of the sea, causing the seawater to surge violently. Its red eyes are filled with coldness as it stares straight at Qin Yu, who is running extremely fast in front of it. The distance between them is getting shorter and shorter. This python is even faster than Sang-mo. Qin Yu turns around to take a look. The coldness in his eyes condenses and he clenches his teeth. Qin Yu unexpectedly stops completely in an instant. The blood-red aquatic python seems to have not expected that Qin Yu would stop so suddenly. But it reacts very quickly and stops before crashing into Qin Yu. It stares at Qin Yu with its red eyes, then with a shake of its body, it turns back into its human form. Sang-mo, I've already found him. Just wait and prepare that thunder hammer. Ha ha. Chago complacently sends a message to Sang-mo through his transmitter. At the moment, Chago is very confident. Judging from Qin Yu's aura, he is only at the middle stage of Jin Dan. Such a Xiaoxianist is definitely no match for him even if he has a high-grade holy weapon. Vice Master, then I'll be waiting for your good news. A faint sneer appears on the corners of Chago's mouth as he stares at Qin Yu in front of him. Hello, Xiaoxianist. Chago mockingly greets Qin Yu. Chago has never been afraid of anyone in the Red Blood Cave's domain. Now that Qin Yu is slower than him, Chago really feels like a cat playing with a mouse. Qin Yu knows very well that this Zuyawist in front of him has been hunting him down since he said, "I've been looking for you for a long time." Perhaps this Zuyawist is also here for Sang-mo's reward. Zuyawist, I can see that your power is no weaker than Sang-mo's. You're such a person. Don't tell me that you've come to hunt me down for a middle-grade holy weapon of Sang-mo's? Or are you doing this for a favor from him? Qin Yu looks at Chago calmly. For the moment, Qin Yu has no intention of running away. After all, after experiencing the pain of Lu Xing's escape once, Qin Yu won't easily try it again. Ha ha. Sang-mo. You mean Sang-mo, that idiot? Chago laughs out loud, but his laughter is filled with arrogance. A middle-grade spirit weapon? What is it? How can it make me chase after you? Chago is very disdainful of a middle-grade spirit weapon. Oh. Looks like you've come for a favor from Sang-mo, Qin Yu says smilingly. Chago says with a shake of his head. A favor? No. Chago stares at Qin Yu with a hint of a smile in his eyes. Given Sang-mo's power and status, he's useless to me. If I want to, I can directly order him to do something for me. Why would I need his favor? Qin Yu is startled. The person in front of him can unexpectedly order Sang-mo around. Qin Yu originally thought that Chago was at most a figure on the same level as Sang-mo. But now it seems that he still underestimated this person. Then why are you hunting me down? Qin Yu is very calm. Oh, cute Xiaoxianist, looks like you still don't know that in order to hunt you down, Sang-mo has already raised the bounty. Chago says with a smile, however, I'm hunting you down not only for the high-grade holy weapon that Sang-mo put on the bounty, but also for the high-grade holy weapon on your body. The high-grade holy weapon on my body? Qin Yu looks at Chago, his expression frozen for a moment. Ha. Don't deny it. The flying sword you used just now is definitely a high-grade holy weapon. Otherwise, how could your speed be so fast? A mid-stage Jin Dan Xiaoxianist can be so fast. To be honest, I think that even a high-grade holy weapon can't make you so fast. Ah, don't tell me that your flying sword is a top-grade holy weapon. Chago's eyes suddenly become blazing. Although he can't believe that a Jin Dan Xiaoxianist has a top-grade flying sword, Qin Yu's speed just now has really surprised Chago. In the sea, blood-red aquatic pythons are very fast. Even though he is in the early stage of yuanying and has used his true form, he is only a little bit faster than Qin Yu. Maybe it really is a top-grade flying sword? A top-grade holy weapon? How about this? I'll give you this flying sword, and you'll pretend that you've never seen me. Qin Yu's heart is moved, but he says this with a smile. At the same time, the flaming sword appears in his hand, and he controls it to float up. Chago is startled. Rolling his eyes, he says with a chuckle, "Actually, I just want a holy weapon. Since you're so tactful, I won't bother to take the trouble and take this flying sword." Saying this, Chago moves his body and grabs the flying sword. This stupid boy. I'll take his flying sword first and directly refine it. Then I'll kill this stupid boy. If the opponent has a high-grade holy weapon, Chago will still feel that it will be a bit troublesome to kill him. Since the opponent has given him a weapon, he is naturally happy to take it. In Chago's view, the opponent's power is only at the middle stage of Jin Dan Xiaoxianist, and his soul is not much stronger. It will only take a while to forcibly refine the opponent's flying sword. Suddenly, in a flash, the power of stars rushes out of Qin Yu's body and forms a huge nebula-like whirlpool. Qin Yu's eyes flash with a cold light. The nebula in his body also starts to rotate extremely fast, and the power of stars completely surges out. Star field. You actually... Seeing this scene, Chago knows that the opponent is about to attack, so he is not stupid enough to take the flying sword. After all, the opponent can easily control the flying sword to attack. Idiot. In a flash, Qin Yu divides himself into several phantoms. However, for some unknown reason, Qin Yu does not use the flaming gloves. The several phantoms of Qin Yu surround Chago. Almost at the same time, the phantoms continuously attack Chago's body. Some are iron fists, some are sword fingers, and some are palm blades. Haha. Chago looks up to the sky and laughs loudly. The demonic elemental energy in his body surges violently, unexpectedly shaking off all of Qin Yu's attacks. Qin Yu clenches his teeth. In an instant, he unexpectedly turns into 6 illusions. The 6 illusions twist their waists at the same time. Their entire bodies spin violently. At the same time, their right legs start to spin like a windmill. Afterwards, they ruthlessly kick Cha Ji's neck. Bang! After completely hitting Chago's neck, the 6 phantoms disappear. In the end, only Qin Yu remains. Qin Yu is kicking Chago's neck. In terms of resistance, we blood-red aquatic pythons aren't weaker than ordinary divine beasts. Chago says to Qin Yu, a layer of scales has unexpectedly appeared on Chago's neck. Qin Yu's close-range attacks unexpectedly have no effect. Qin Yu does a somersault backwards and retreats far away. Close-range attacks are more effective against humans, whose bodies are relatively weak, but not against Zuyoists because many Zuyoists' true bodies have very powerful bodies. For example, blood-red aquatic pythons, flood dragons, horned dragons and so on. You're really good at resisting attacks. Qin Yu exclaims in admiration. Hearing Qin Yu's praise, Chago becomes even prouder. But he still says, even though you're a Xiaoxianist, your body is really very strong. In fact, your last attack just now forced me to use my protective scales. Qin Yu exclaims in admiration, my attack didn't break your defense and you didn't even use your true body. You're indeed much more formidable than Xiaoxianists at the same level as us. But I won't admit defeat. If it weren't for the high-grade holy weapon, I really wouldn't have killed you. While saying that, Chago's body moves as fast as lightning. 2 daggers appear in his hands and he thrusts them directly at Qin Yu. The edges of the daggers are even glowing with a cold blue light. They are highly poisonous. Die. Qin Yu says silently in his mind. The nebula around his body starts to rotate extremely fast again as he uses the astral field again. Just like the move he used just now, Qin Yu controls the flaming sword to block the daggers and punches Chago with both hands. A faint smile appears on Chago's face uncontrollably. After witnessing Qin Yu's attack just now, Chago already knows that Qin Yu's attack power is not strong enough to injure him. To be safe, Chago still covers his body with a layer of protective scales, which are made of python scales. Of course, its defense is not as amazing as when he used his true body, but it is still very high at the moment. Ah! Qin Yu clenches his teeth so hard that blood spurts out. His eyes suddenly emit a cold light. While punching, his knuckles suddenly bulge out, forming a finger punch with the strongest penetrating power. At the same time, the flaming gloves appear. Puff! Puff! The strong penetrating power, combined with the high-grade holy weapon, the flaming gloves, is simply unstoppable. Qin Yu's fists directly break through the scales and continue to stab into the python's body, intending to smash the python's internal organs and take his life. However, roar. The moment his fists pierce through the scales, Chago's body unexpectedly turns into a 70 to 80 m long scarlet python in the blink of an eye. The python coils around Qin Yu, intending to strangle Qin Yu to death. Cunning Xiaoxianist, I'm going to eat you. Chago's angry voice resounds in Qin Yu's mind. Chago is really angry. He has already been tricked twice by Qin Yu. The first time, Qin Yu talked to him first, but halfway through, Qin Yu escaped in advance. The second time, Qin Yu didn't use the flaming gloves at the beginning of the attack, which made Chago miscalculate the opponent's strength. When Qin Yu attacked the second time, Chago didn't pay any attention to him, but he paid a great price. Qin Yu's body flashed like lightning, and he escaped from the python's body. He immediately said through his holy sense, "Python, you were lucky just now that I didn't kill you in one blow. But, even though I didn't pierce your heart, it was still shaken by my penetrating power. You must have been seriously injured." Chago was of course injured, and seriously injured. Because Chago judged Qin Yu's strength from his first close-range attack and thought that Qin Yu's scales were more than enough to protect his body, and that even his protective demonic elemental energy had not been completely formed yet. Qin Yu's second finger punch attack, relying on the high-grade holy weapon, the flaming gloves, directly broke through the scales. Moreover, the penetrating power of the finger punch didn't require the full body attack. Qin Yu's finger punch even penetrated Chago's skin and flesh, injuring his heart. "Ah! I'm so angry." The blood-red aquatic python's body swings non-stop, completely stirring up the water around it. However, it unexpectedly spurts out a mouthful of blood from its mouth. The heart is a vital part of the body, so even though this blood-red aquatic python was only shaken by Qin Yu's penetrating power, it was still seriously injured. Qin Yu makes a gesture with his hands. With a solemn expression, he immediately shouts loudly, "Illusion-spreading sword art, starry sky." Qin Yu's flaming sword flies upwards. In the blink of an eye, it turns into a hazy area. Countless sword silhouettes shoot out from the hazy area and shoot directly at the blood-red aquatic python. Seeing this scene, a faint smile appears on Qin Yu's face. Xiaoxianists, Zuyoists and Xiamoists all have their own specialties. Xiaoxianists' various sword arts are really outstanding. As for Xiamoists, many of their strange holy weapons are also very powerful. Qin Yu has quite a few secret books on Xiaoxianists, so naturally he has learned some sword arts. The illusion-spreading sword art is one of the sword arts Qin Yu focuses on. Growl. The blood-red aquatic python utters a deep growl, then stares at Qin Yu with its huge head. Its red eyes emit a visible red light. With a movement of its head, it turns into a blur and arrives in front of Qin Yu in the blink of an eye. In terms of speed, the python's head was even faster than its body. Chi, 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 chi. Various sword silhouettes hit the blood-red aquatic python's body. Only a few bloodstains have appeared on its scales, but it is not seriously injured. The blood-red aquatic python simply ignores Qin Yu's attacks. It opens its ferocious mouth and bites at Qin Yu. A fishy smell wafts over. Qin Yu makes a gesture with his hands. The flaming sword falls from the sky and directly stabs at the blood-red aquatic python extremely fast. Qin Yu himself, however, moves his body along with the flow of water and easily avoids the blood-red aquatic python's bite. Pa! A red blur appears. However, Qin Yu vomits blood and is sent flying away. Damn it, this python's tail is even faster than its head. Qin Yu vomits a mouthful of blood. He feels that his internal organs have all been damaged. Just now, he only saw a red blur before the tail hit him. It is 2 or 3 times faster than the python's head. This is too terrifying. At this moment, the flaming sword has also arrived. It directly stabs at the python's head. Growl. The python suddenly raises its head and unexpectedly bites at Qin Yu's flaming sword without the slightest fear. A hint of ruthlessness appears in Qin Yu's eyes. He controls the flaming sword with his mind and stabs it directly at the python's open mouth. "If you bite me, I'll pierce your throat. Qin Yu is ruthless. Whiz. A yellow light is shot out from the python's mouth and directly hits the flaming sword. Qin Yu then finds that the flying sword has become much heavier and its speed has decreased a lot, as if it is out of control. Only now does Qin Yu see clearly. Some yellow liquid is attached to the flaming sword and at the same time it is emitting a yellow mist. Chapter 112. Looking at the flying sword that has been attached to the poisonous liquid, Qin Yu gives the flaming sword a thought. Flames suddenly appear on the surface of the flaming sword. Being burned by the flames, the poisonous liquid makes sizzling noises. Qin Yu feels clearly that he can control the flaming sword easily. Growl. The python's huge mouth is about to bite down when the flaming sword flies extremely fast towards Qin Yu. Qin Yu grabs it. After being bitten by the yellow liquid just now, Qin Yu doesn't dare to let the flaming sword be bitten by this python. Who knows what tricks this python has up its sleeves? After all, since it dares to bite, it must have a way to deal with the flying sword. Haha, it's indeed a good flying sword. I'll eat you first, then take your flying sword. Shigon's voice rises in Qin Yu's mind through holy sense communication. At the same time, the huge python's body starts to move extremely fast, turning into a red blur. Unfolding the star field, Qin Yu moves extremely fast. This guy's speed is too fast, especially his head and tail. Qin Yu has a headache. He can unfold the star field to dodge, but it consumes too much energy. Qin Yu can't keep this state forever. Qin Yu immediately rushes to the python's abdomen. Forming a claw with one hand, Qin Yu directly pierces through the scales on the python's abdomen. The power of the flaming gloves is beyond doubt. The python roars in pain. Yellow mucus and ice-cold fangs are clearly visible in its mouth. Pa! A red blur shoots over. Qin Yu is about to move, but he is already hit. It hits Qin Yu's chest heavily, causing a series of bone-breaking sounds. 2 of Qin Yu's sternum should be broken. At the same time, his internal organs are violently shaken. Blood spurts out from Qin Yu's mouth. If it goes on like this, I'll definitely be killed by this python. Even if I use the Lu Xing escape, it'll take me a long time to recover. I might as well fight it. When Qin Yu was chased by the blood-red aquatic python, he came up with a plan. That was a plan that would only be used when there was no other choice. At this moment, Qin Yu had already decided to use this plan. Bastard! Qin Yu's hand pierces through the blood-red aquatic python's scales like a claw. The blood-red aquatic python immediately utters a loud roar in pain and swings its tail at Qin Yu again. However, almost at the same time when Qin Yu's hand pierces through the python's scales, he turns his body over and directly hits the python's neck. The python's tail lashed out of the spot where Qin Yu had pierced the wound. Roar! When the python realized that Qin Yu had actually reached its neck, it immediately turned its head in anger. The python opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Qin Yu. In Shigon's mind, Qin Yu would definitely try to avoid it. After all, if he was bitten, his body would definitely be finished. Naturally, Qin Yu would die. However, I'll trade a life for a life. Qin Yu suddenly shouted loudly. Holding the flaming sword in his hand, he completely infused it with his star power and his powerful muscles. Qin Yu clenched his teeth and fiercely pierced the python's head with his sword. Let's see if you can still live after your head is cut off. Qin Yu's cold voice was transmitted to Shigon's mind. The blood-red aquatic python has already opened its bloody mouth and its fangs are clearly visible. It looks like it is about to bite down. However, Qin Yu's holy sense communication stupefies it for a moment. Wouldn't it be the same if its head was cut off? How could that be? The soul was hidden in the brain. Once its head was cut off, it would definitely die. Shigon never wanted to die. Even though he went crazy just now, he never thought that he would die. After all, he was the deputy master of the Red Blood Cave. Perishing together with a Xiaxionist? However, he suddenly felt a sharp pain. While he was in a daze, Qin Yu's flaming sword had already pierced his neck. Then, Qin Yu fiercely slashed the sword across his neck. Shigone, as if he had gone mad before dying, suddenly bit down at Qin Yu. The python's head rolled down. Shigone stared at Qin Yu with his cold red eyes, full of disbelief. Was he really killed? Even though his head was cut off, he still had several seconds of consciousness. Puff! Blood gushed out from the severed neck. The headless python's huge body was still wriggling and shaking. However, the blood-red aquatic python Cha Ji's head has already bitten through Qin Yu's body. His abdomen has been pierced through by the two poisonous fangs. There is a terrifyingly large hole in his abdomen. Even his spleen has been completely shattered. His liver has also been fatally damaged. Seeing the disbelief in Shigone's red eyes, Qin Yu revealed a faint smile on the corners of his mouth. Feeling waves of dizziness, Qin Yu hurriedly waved his hand and put the huge blood-red python's corpse and head into his interspatial ring. It was very important to destroy the corpse and erase all traces. Qin Yu knew very well that even with Lu Xing's continuous support, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Break! Qin Yu directly penetrated under a coral. However, his control over his body was getting weaker and weaker. It's up to you now. Lu Xing's in tears. Afterwards, Qin Yu completely lost control over his body. The suction force between heaven and earth was attracting Qin Yu's soul. Qin Yu's soul was about to fly away, as if it wanted to leave his body. At this moment, Qin Yu wasn't disappointed. A familiar warm current enveloped Qin Yu's soul. Qin Yu couldn't feel the suction force anymore. Feeling this warm current, Qin Yu no longer thought about it. Quietly, Qin Yu's body started to slowly recover. At this moment, a woman was floating through the seabed. She was dressed in a blue gown and holding a zither in her arms. Her jet-black hair was casually tied up with a blue ribbon, which flowed down to her waist. A white belt was wrapped around her waist, which made her slender waist look even more voluptuous. However, there was always a calm smile on her face. She wasn't riding a sword at all. She seemed to be moving very slowly, but in fact, she had the strange effect of shrinking the distance into an inch. In just a short while, she had already crossed several thousand li compared to Qin Yu. She was many times faster. The green-clothed woman's body suddenly stops. Her slender neck gracefully turns to look at the group of corals where Qin Yu is hiding. As if she can see through the corals, a hint of amazement appears on the green-clothed woman's face. She then gives a calm smile. She waved her sleeve, exposing her snow-white arm. At this moment, Qin Yu's body also disappeared into the coral reef. Afterwards, the woman continued to walk slowly with the zither in her arms. In an instant, she disappeared from her original place. In the blood-red cave, inside the blood-red cave, in a secret room, the master of the red blood cave, Shahone, was sitting with legs crossed on a hassock. Various streams of demonic elemental energy were shooting unceasingly at a black jade case floating in front of him. This black jade case was very simple and unadorned. On the surface of the case, there were two flamboyant characters, 9 swords. Shahone, the real leader of the area within a radius of 8 million li of the red blood cave. Compared to his 2 younger brothers, Shahone was much more powerful. Early Dongshu stage. This was Shahone's power. In the underwater world of Zuyoists, where Yuanying stage experts were already first-class experts, Dongshu stage experts were already considered super experts. It should be known that even the 9 purple demon aquatic dragons of the 9 Spirits Hall, one of the 3 underwater superpowers, were only at the Dongshu stage. Since obtaining this black jade case 100 years ago, Shahone has been extremely excited. Since then, Shahone has handed over the affairs of the Red Blood Cave to his 2 younger brothers while he himself often undergoes closed-door training. Every time he undergoes closed-door training, it will last for several years. This time, he has already been in closed-door training for 3 years. After letting out a sigh, Shahone stops pouring demonic elemental energy into the black jade case. After looking carefully at it, Shahone slightly nods and says, "Soon. I should be able to succeed in 3 years. I've already worked hard for 100 years, so 3 years doesn't matter to me. In order to open this black jade case, Shahon has been consuming the talisman's energy non-stop for the past 100 years in order to open it. A simple dust removal talisman is already so formidable. The power of the person who sealed it is really terrifying. Shahon's face is full of admiration. He's indeed an immortal. With such power, he can destroy me with just a wave of his hand. A dust removal talisman is a talisman of the lowest level even in the Shojin world. Generally, it is used to prevent dust. How powerful can a talisman be? If it is a powerful talisman, it will fight back once it is attacked. However, this dust removal talisman only protects the object from being contaminated by dust and will not fight back. Luckily, it will not fight back. Otherwise, given Shahon's power, how could he possibly open this jade case? Even though it is just a simple dust removal talisman, Shahon had to rely on foolish old man to move a mountain and spend 100 years in closed-door training to consume some of the talisman's energy. After such a long time, the talisman's energy has almost been completely used up. Penglai Immortal Region, Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon, Blue Dragon Temple, 9 Spirits Hall, Blue River Province. Perhaps none of you can imagine that one of the 9 swords is in my hands. Humph, one day, the 3 superpowers of the underwater Zuyoists will become 4 superpowers. Shahon's eyes glitter with shrewdness. Shahon has an ambition in his heart. His ambition relies on this black jade case. But I'm not powerful enough now. I have to reach the late Dongshu stage at least to be qualified to talk to them. Now the most important thing is to be patient. I can't let them know that one of the jade cases is in my hands. Shahon recalls the process of obtaining this black jade case in the past. After thinking carefully again, Shahon is sure that he has already killed all the people who know about this case. None of them have escaped, so there will definitely be no problem. Shahon cannot be blamed for being careful. If the Blue Dragon Temple and the 9 Spirits Hall find out about this treasure, given his power, Shahon will simply not be able to stop them from snatching it away. If he is not powerful enough to obtain a treasure, that will be a disaster. Therefore, he must be patient. Bang! 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 All of a sudden, the stone door outside the private room makes continuous noises, as if someone is knocking heavily on the door. Shahon is furious. When he is doing closed-door training, he absolutely does not allow anyone to disturb him. Because he is consuming the energy of the talisman in this private room, Shahon naturally has a guilty conscience. Therefore, he is worried as soon as someone approaches the door. Who is it? Knocking on the door when I'm doing closed-door training. Are you courting death? Shahon's deep voice is transmitted out. Cave Master, something bad has happened. Vice Master is dead. With a movement of his body, Shahon disappears from the private room in the blink of an eye. At the same time, the black jade case also disappears. Outside the stone door, 3 guardians are standing respectfully with very anxious expressions on their faces. Cocker. The stone door opens. The Red Blood Cave's master, Shahon, walks out with a gloomy expression. He immediately shouts at the 3 guardians in front of him, "Tell me, who died? Tell me everything you know." The Silver Armor Protector steps forward and says, "Cave Master, Vice Master Shahon and Vice Master Chap went out 3 months ago to pursue and kill an immortal practitioner. Vice Master Shahon is now dead." Pursue and kill an immortal practitioner? Although Shahon is furious about his little brother's death, he is still very clear-headed. If he wants to accomplish great things, he definitely won't let his head get hot. Cave Master, a while ago, Sangmo Protector's son was killed by an immortal practitioner. Afterwards, Sangmo Protector pursued and killed this immortal practitioner. However, Sangmo Protector is truly incompetent. He actually couldn't catch him. It seems that the immortal practitioner killed quite a few of Sangmo Protector's clansmen. Sangmo has issued a bounty. The reward is that high-grade holy artifact, Thunderhammer. The Silver Armor Protector explains everything. After hearing this, Shahon roughly understands what happened. His third brother has always wanted to obtain a high-grade holy artifact. However, high-grade holy artifacts aren't something that can be obtained just because one wants them. Shahon once had an extra high-grade holy artifact, which he later gave to his second brother, Chap. This is because, in Shahon's view, Chap's strength is very strong. Coupled with a high-grade holy artifact, it is a combination of the strong and the strong. His side can be considered to have an expert. However, if he were to give it to his third brother, who is only at the early stage of yuaniing, using a high-grade holy artifact would be a waste. Naturally, Shagon has always wanted to obtain a high-grade holy artifact. It isn't hard to imagine why Shagon would act this time. Third brother is dead? And he went with second brother. Is that immortal practitioner very powerful? Shahon asks doubtfully. The silver armor protector says, that immortal practitioner is very weak. He hasn't even reached the yuaniing stage. The reason why Sangmo wasn't able to kill him is because this immortal practitioner is too fast. As for why Vice Cave Master died, I don't understand at all. Shahon nods slightly. If that immortal practitioner was so powerful that he could kill even Shagon, then most likely Sangmo would have been killed long ago. What about second brother? Didn't he go with third brother? With second brother there, how could third brother die? Shahon shouts. The silver armor protector shakes his head. I don't know. However, Vice Cave Master Chap should be fine. That soul jade slip didn't shatter. As soon as I discovered that Vice Cave Master Shagon died, I hurriedly came to inform Cave Master. I didn't have time to ask Vice Cave Master Chap. Shahon immediately takes out a transmitter. Second brother, third brother is dead. What are you doing? Chap, who is chasing after Xiao He, is also very angry. Although his main body isn't slower than Xiao He's, Xiao He has transformed into a black light and directly passed through some narrow cracks. Chap's main body is too thick, so he can only force his way through. Of course, his speed is slow. What? Third brother is dead. Chap is startled. What are you doing? I'm chasing after a black eagle. Get your ass back here right now. Full speed. Shahon's message contains extreme anger. Chap knows that his third brother is dead. Seeing his big brother so angry, he doesn't care about that annoying black eagle anymore. He hurriedly rushes back to the Red Blood Cave as fast as he can. Chapter 113. After an unknown amount of time, Qin gradually felt the existence of his body. Qin moved his fingers. After only a short while, the feeling of being in complete control of his body came back again. Qin could not help having a slight smile on his face. When he opened his eyes, he saw a roof made of bamboo. This is not a coral mountain. Qin face changes color greatly. He immediately gets up and sits up. His eyes flash. In an instant, he looks all around. In an instant, he has grasped the situation around him. This was a very quiet bamboo house. There was no one in the house. Qin was originally hiding in the coral mountain. When he woke up, he found himself in a bamboo house. How could Qin not be shocked? Qin immediately used his spiritual sense to check his body, including his soul and dantian. Feeling that his body was not uncomfortable, Qin secretly sighed in relief. When he was in the state of Lu Xing's tear recovery, Qin was at the mercy of others. He did not have the slightest ability to resist. Now it seemed that the person who brought him here did not do any harm to him. Qin takes a look outside the bamboo house. To his surprise, he finds that there is an endless amount of seawater outside this bamboo house. Obviously, there is a restrictive spell outside this bamboo house which blocks all of the seawater so that this bamboo house is not affected at all. Qin expands his holy sense. The bamboo house had 3 rooms in front and 3 in the back. In the middle was a courtyard. There was no seawater in the bamboo house's courtyard. Outside the bamboo house was endless waves. At this moment, there was no one in the bamboo house's courtyard. Who is the owner of this place? Qin Yu got out of bed and walked out of the room. The moment Qin Yu got out of bed, Qin Yu's spiritual sense sensed a person outside the bamboo house's courtyard. Qin Yu immediately stepped out of the room. Cheng Wan. Seeing the man in front of him, Qin Yu's first impression was that the man in front of him was Cheng Wan. His calm eyes seemed to be able to see through people's souls. The man in front of him looked like a 40-year-old mortal. "Little brother, you're awake?" the man said with a smile. Qin Yu was vigilant. He did not know when he had been rescued. If he had been rescued right after he was injured, the other party must have known how serious his injuries were. His spleen was shattered, his liver was severely damaged, and there was a huge hole in his abdomen. He would definitely die. Now that he had come back to life, an ordinary person would definitely be surprised. "My name is Lu Xing. Sir, I didn't know you." "Ah, you're a human." Qin Yu was shocked. Just now, when he swept with his spiritual sense, he found that the person in front of him did not have the slightest demonic aura. Moreover, Qin Yu could not detect the cultivation of this person at all. According to what Qin Yu knew, his spiritual sense could at least detect the early stage of yuanying, so the man in front of him was at least in the middle stage of yuanying. "You can call me Uncle Lon." "Yes, I am indeed a human." "You can think of me as an immortal cultivator." Uncle Lon smiled calmly. Qin Yu was very shocked in his heart. A immortal cultivator dared to go to the bottom of the sea, which meant that his life could be in danger at any time. Even a powerful person would not dare to stay at the bottom of the sea for a long time. After all, there were still many Zuyoists at the bottom of the sea. "Uncle Lon, if you're a immortal cultivator, why are you at the bottom of the sea?" Qin Yu asked doubtfully. Qin Yu, however, did not notice Uncle Lan's words just now. "You can think of me as an immortal cultivator." If he was a real immortal cultivator, how could he possibly say that? However, at the moment, Qin Yu was worried that his secret of Lu Xing's tears would be discovered, and he was also surprised that Uncle Lon was a human, so naturally he did not notice this flaw. "I'm at the bottom of the sea because Li Er likes the environment here, so I brought her here." Uncle Lon explained smilingly as if he had a good impression of Qin Yu. "Li Er." Qin Yu's heart jumped. "It's Li Er who saved you and brought you back. But she's gone out now. Come, have a taste of the tea I've prepared," Uncle Lon said enthusiastically. He then directly led Qin Yu to the central courtyard and the two of them sat face to face. Uncle Lon made 2 cups of tea. Qin Yu and Uncle Lon then began to chat. Even though they are chatting very casually, Qin Yu has always been worried at the bottom of his heart whether his secret has been discovered or not. He is still alive even after suffering such serious injuries. If it were a normal Zionist, how could they not be surprised and curious? "Uncle Lon." A clear and elegant voice rose. Qin Yu turned his head to look. Long hair as black as ink and so bright that it could reflect a person's appearance poured down in torrents. Her eyes gave people a feeling of tranquility. Her skin was sparkling and translucent like jade. Her blue robe was very loose and a white belt tied around her waist was somewhat thin. Her left hand held a bamboo basket with some Ganoderma grass inside. "Lu Xing, this is Li Er. She was the one who saved you and brought you back," Uncle Lon said with a smile. Qin Yu looked at Miss Li Er in front of him. Qin Yu was originally the heir of the prince's mansion. The servant girls at home were generally all beauties. But Miss Li Er in front of him? To tell the truth, even though Miss Li Er's skin was sparkling and translucent like jade and her temperament was elegant, her face could only be considered above average. "Miss Li Er, thank you for saving my life." Qin Yu slightly bowed and said. But at this moment, Qin Yu's heart was very vigilant. He didn't know when Miss Li Er had saved him and brought him back. If by the time Miss Li Er had saved him, his injuries had mostly healed, and Li Er hadn't discovered his fatal injuries, then that would be fine. "Mr. Lu Xing, there's no need to thank me. Although I brought you here, even if I didn't do anything, you would have been able to recover on your own." Miss Li Er's sparkling eyes looked at Qin Yu. Those tranquil eyes of hers contained a rare hint of curiosity. Qin Yu suddenly frowned. Qin Yu discovered that under normal circumstances, Lu Xing's tears would only send out a small stream of heat to nourish the soul. But now, the stream of heat it sends out is 2 to 3 times as much as before. For some unknown reason, to be exact, when Miss Lear appeared, Qin Yu's Lu Xing's tears sent out a larger stream of heat. Mr. Lu Xing and Uncle Lon can continue chatting here. I'm going back to my room. Miss Lear gave him a slight nod, then walked towards the 3 rooms at the back of the bamboo house and directly entered one of them. The 3 rooms at the front of this bamboo house belonged to Miss Lear, and Uncle Lan's room was in the 3 rooms at the front. Qin Yu now occupied one of them. Uncle Lon, Miss Lear doesn't seem to be very powerful. How can you feel at ease letting her wander around the underwater world of Zooyoists by herself? Qin Yu sipped his tea and said smilingly. Just now, with a sweep of his holy sense, he discovered that Miss Lear was unexpectedly only at the early stage of Jean Dan's level of power. The early stage of Jean Dan's level, and moreover, she was a human Xiaxionist. This level of power was really very dangerous in the underwater world of Zooyoists. Uncle Lon closed his eyes and enjoyed the taste of the tea. Then he said with a smile, Li Er has some special skills. Even though she can't defeat other Zooyoists, she'll have no problem protecting herself in the underwater world of Zooyoists. Special skills? Qin Yu made a mental note of this. When he saw Miss Lear just now, Qin Yu had a bit of a good impression of her. Suddenly, a quiet and serene zither sound rises. It sounds like the tinkling of a spring or the flowing of a high mountain. It's very refreshing and tranquil. Qin Yu unconsciously puts down his cup and carefully closes his eyes to feel the zither sound. On one side, Uncle Lon also does the same as Qin Yu. The zither sound then rises again. It sounds like waves in the ocean, attacking him one after another. After a long time, the zither sound changes again. It sounds like a boundless forest with waves of pines. At last, along with the zither sound, Qin Yu's whole body seems to have entered a snowy region. It's as if the whole sky and the whole earth are snowy white. The zither sound stops. Only after a long time does Qin Yu come back to his senses. Qin Yu opens his eyes. His heart is very tranquil. Ever since he rashly entered the underwater world of Zooyoists, Qin Yu has suffered a lot. He was chased by Sang Mo and even had a big fight with a red blood python. All this time, Qin Yu hasn't had any rest at all. At this moment, Qin Yu's heart has calmed down, which is rare for him. Miss Li Er's zither art is definitely at the level of a great master. Qin Yu praises sincerely. Qin Yu has also heard the performances of so-called formidable zither players in the princely mansion. However, compared with Miss Li Er, Qin Yu feels that they are simply on 2 different levels. A hint of confidence appears on Uncle Lan's face. He says, Li Er's zither art is top-notch even in the clan. It's your destiny that you were able to hear her zither art. Just by listening to this song, Qin Yu's state of mind seems to have been cleansed. The killings during this period of time have made Qin Yu's state of mind cruel and fierce. But this song alone has made Qin Yu's state of mind seem to have been sublimated. Miss Li Er's skill in the zither also represents her mental state cultivation from a certain perspective. I feel that Miss Li Er's state of mind cultivation seems to be very high. Qin Yu says doubtfully. Just the majesty of the zither sound alone, that fresh and quiet. It even makes Qin Yu feel as if he is there. With such skill, how can her state of mind cultivation be low? But such a person is only at the early stage of Jean Dan. Uncle Lon smiles. Li Er has no interest in cultivation. Although her talent is exceptional, if she wanted to cultivate, she would have surpassed me long ago. But she doesn't want to cultivate, so her cultivation is so low. Qin Yu finally understands. Spiritual sense will not deceive people. Miss Li Er is indeed only at the early stage of Jean Dan. Big Sister Li Er. With a loud roar, an ape rushes in from outside. Qin Yu only feels a golden flash, and a standing ape appears in front of him. With a sweep of his spiritual sense, Qin Yu is shocked. The ape in front of him has actually reached the middle stage of Yuanying. At this moment, Qin Yu is convinced that his spiritual sense should be comparable to the middle stage of Yuanying. While Qin Yu is paying attention to the ape also glances at Qin Yu. Kaka, this is the injured person that big sister Li Er brought back. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Ho Fei. Kaka, my strength is higher than yours. At this point, the ape scratches its head and laughs. Uncle Lon suddenly shouts, "Harry Monkey, be polite to the guest." Hearing this, the ape immediately restrains its arrogance and says, "Shizuan, there are very few experts in this valley. Although the person in front of me is not very strong, he can still fight with me. The other demonic beasts in the valley do not dare to fight with me." Qin Yu is secretly alarmed. So this middle-stage Yuanying ape is unexpectedly Uncle Lan's disciple. Even his disciple has reached the middle stage of Yuanying. How powerful is Uncle Lan actually? At least Qin Yu cannot see through him and cannot say exactly how powerful he is. You only know how to play all day. Be quiet. Uncle Lan shouts solemnly. Ho Fei immediately stands aside and says nothing. Uncle Lan looks smilingly at Qin Yu and says, "Lu Xing, don't be fooled by Ho Fei's playfulness. He's a divine beast, fiery-eyed water ape. Perhaps you won't be able to find a second one like him in the underwater Xiaoyao world." Qin Yu is secretly very shocked. A divine beast, and a fiery-eyed water ape at that. Qin Yu's secret book also talks about some divine beasts, but there is no such thing as a fiery-eyed water ape. But Qin Yu doesn't doubt Uncle Lan's words at all. "Kaka, I'm the one and only divine beast, but Master won't let me leave the valley. He says my power is too low." Humph humph. Ho Fei stands on one side and says with a groan. Qin Yu's heart skips a beat. Not enough power? Divine beasts that have reached the middle stage of Yuanying are not allowed to leave the valley? This Uncle Lan really has high requirements for his disciples. After all, divine beasts cannot be judged by their power levels. They are generally more than 10 times stronger than experts of the same level. A middle-stage Yuanying divine beast is comparable to a Dongshu stage Zhuoist. In the courtyard of this bamboo house, Qin Yu and Uncle Lan have been chatting for a long time. For some reason, Uncle Lan seems to be very interested in Qin Yu. An expert like him doesn't feel like chatting with his disciple Ho Fei, but he has been chatting with Qin Yu for most of the day. Ho Fei has also been forced by Uncle Lan to call Qin Yu Big Brother. This is just like when Ho Fei was forced to call Miss Li a Big Sister. In Qin Yu's house, Qin Yu has told Uncle Lan not to let anyone enter his room so that he can practice. Without saying anything, Uncle Lan directly sets up restrictive spells all around the house. Qin Yu, however, is not affected at all. Compared to Ho Fei, I'm really very weak, let alone compared to Uncle Lan. Qin Yu feels the gap between them, so he decides to refine the blood-red aquatic python's Yuanying. Qin Yu sends his holy sense into his interspatial ring. There is a huge blood-red aquatic python corpse in that huge space. Qin Yu's heart jolts. A mass of misty purple light appears in Qin Yu's palm. Inside the purple light is a Yuanying. Its soul has disappeared. This Yuanying looks like an energy crystal. Qin Yu is sitting with legs crossed. That Yuanying floats in front of him. Illusory stellar force gushes out, forming a nebula that looks like a vortex. At the same time, a stellar flame wraps around the Yuanying. The Yuanying starts to melt slowly. Its impurities are refined and its energy starts to circulate along with the stellar force in the vortex. Chapter 114. After completely purifying the impurities, Qin Yu finally absorbs the essence of life and reaches the early stage of Yuanying. Moreover, it is the Yuanying of a blood-red aquatic python, so its energy is much more than that of people of the same stage. In his dantian, the silvery granules are also very large. One after another, they form one circle after another, eventually forming a huge vortex. In the center of the vortex is a blue flame called the stellar true flame. As time goes by, the silvery granules also become bigger and bigger. Clack. Suddenly, A silvery granule splits into two. Immediately afterwards, all the silvery granules in Qin Yu's body split one after another. In just a while, the number of silvery granules in Qin Yu's body has doubled again. At this moment, the silvery granules in Qin Yu's dantian are densely packed and form a dense vortex of silvery granules. The late nebula stage. High risks also bring high returns. Less than a year after coming to the underwater Xiaoyao world, Qin Yu's power finally makes another breakthrough and reaches the late nebula stage. At the moment, the energy inside Qin Yu's body has become much more vigorous and pure than before. His power has increased a lot. However, even though he has reached the late nebula stage, the energy of the Yuanying has only been consumed by more than half. Qin Yu continues to absorb it. Time goes by. Qin Yu has spent 9 whole days before finally completely refining the energy of the Yuanying. Qin Yu opens his eyes. There is a hint of delight in his eyes. If I run into that blood-red aquatic python again now, I won't have to work so hard. Qin Yu is very confident. The creator of the stellar transformations is Lei Wei. At that time, Lei Wei was only at the middle Dujie stage. Even before undergoing the tribulation, he alone killed a Deshang stage expert, several loose immortals and tens of Dujie stage and Kongming stage experts. He was simply killing people at a higher stage. The stellar transformations is not like other Xiuzhen techniques. For other Xiuzhen techniques, the gap between each stage is relatively large, but it is not insurmountable. However, each stage of the stellar transformations is basically a different concept. The nebula realm was still the most ordinary star energy. At the meteor stage, however, the meteor stage is called meteor, when all the silvery stars are purified to form a golden essence. The meteor stage is called meteor, when all the silvery stars are purified to form a golden essence. Compared to Qin Yu's current stellar energy, the energy of this meteor is simply not on the same level. I'm now at the nebula late stage. Dealing with an ordinary early stage Yuanying won't be a problem. Although dealing with a top-notch demon beast like the blood-red aquatic python is somewhat difficult, I can still barely accomplish it. If I can reach the level of Lu Xing's early stage, I should be able to deal with an early-stage Dongshu realm expert. Qin Yu was very clear about his own cultivation method. Once he reached the level of Lu Xing, he would definitely be regarded as a humanoid mythical beast. Unfortunately, to reach Lu Xing's early stage from nebula late stage, even if he swallowed early stage Yuanying demon beasts, he would need at least 8 or 9 of them. If he were to cultivate on his own, it would be almost impossible without tens or hundreds of years. Oh, this storage bracelet of the blood-red aquatic python is not bad. A bracelet appears in Qin Yu's hand. It is none other than the bracelet of the blood-red aquatic python, Chago. Since Chago died, this storage bracelet has become an ownerless object. Qin Yu immediately sends his spiritual sense into the bracelet and starts to examine it carefully. This blood-red aquatic python is really rich. The space inside this bracelet is relatively large. It is 20 meters in length and width. At the moment, there is a golden mountain inside the bracelet, which is completely made of gold. Next to the golden mountain is a small pile of purple gold about half a meter high. There are also some other kinds of minerals. Gold is an ordinary material, but purple gold can be refined into flying swords. Generally, 500 kilograms of gold can only be refined into 2 or 3 kilograms of purple gold. If purple gold is used to refine flying swords, they will only be low-grade flying swords. But if the purple gold is used as a supplementary material, it can be refined into purple gold liquid and then engraved on the flying swords according to talisman seals. The result will be very good. It should be known that this purple gold liquid is a top-grade talisman seal material. As for the other kinds of minerals and crystals, most of them are used to refine low-grade holy weapons. A few of them are used to refine middle-grade holy weapons. Oh, a command tablet. Qin Yu finds a command tablet in a corner of the storage bracelet. With a thought, the command tablet immediately flies into his palm. This command tablet is black and only has the word blood red carved on it. Seeing this command tablet, Qin Yu's face changes color immediately. The blood-red black command tablet. Only the 3 cave masters have it. Qin Yu's face instantly turns deathly pale. The Red Blood Cave is in charge of an area of 8 million li in radius. The Red Blood Cave has 1 cave master and 2 vice masters. These 3 cave masters have command tablets called blood-red black command tablets. The 13 guardians also have command tablets called blood-red black command tablets. Only the 3 cave masters had the scarlet blood black medallion here. Then what was the python he killed? Could it be that the python was the legendary blood-red aquatic python? Qin Yu feels a burst of confusion. When he was chased by Shigon, Shigon had transformed into a huge python. It should be known that pythons are a relatively large species in the sea. A python didn't allow Qin Yu to associate it with a blood-red aquatic python. Right, that guy once said that he could order Sang Mo around. Qin Yu recalls Shigon's words. This further confirms Qin Yu's conjecture. It is very likely that the one he killed was the vice master of the Red Blood Cave. As for the cave master, Qin Yu has never thought about it. In his memory, the cave master was considered invincible. How could he possibly kill him? This is the transmission tablet? Qin Yu finds the transmission tablet in his storage bracelet. Qin Yu has used the soul-searching technique before, so he knows about the transmission tablet and the Red Blood Cave's general situation. As soon as he uses his holy sense to scan the transmission tablet, Qin Yu's face changes color. Vice Master, you must have killed that immortal cultivator, right? Congratulations, this subordinate's thunderhammer is waiting for you to come and take it. Vice Master, what's the matter? You still haven't killed that Zyuxionist? Zyuxionist, is this transmission tablet in your hands? You actually dared to kill the Vice Master. You really have some strength. Haha, but there's no need for me, Sang Mo, to put up a bounty. You killed the Vice Master. You're simply courting death. Just wait for the Cave Master's fury. 3 messages are transmitted through the transmission tablet through his holy sense. As soon as Qin Yu takes a look at them, his heart shakes. It's just as I expected. The one I killed was the Red Blood Cave's Vice Master. I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble. Within this area of 8 million li in radius, the Red Blood Cave is the local tyrant. Moreover, according to the information he obtained from soul-searching, the most terrifying cave master of the Red Blood Cave is basically an invincible being within this area. For the moment, Qin Yu's mind is in a bit of a mess. How can the Red Blood Cave possibly let him off after killing the Red Blood Cave's Vice Master? Now there's only one way left. A hint of fierceness flashes through Qin Yu's eyes. If he wants to travel safely through the underwater Xiuyao world, he has to comprehend the Xiumo secret skill Northern Darkness. The only way is to completely restrain his aura so that other people simply won't be able to recognize his aura. First, he has to restrain his aura. Then, he has to change his appearance and even his temperament. The most important thing is to change his temperament. Once it is changed, even Sang Mo himself may not be able to tell that Qin Yu is that Zyuxionist. To change his temperament, Qin Yu has to first change his style of dress. Second, he has to learn the Northern Darkness. Once he learns the Northern Darkness, Qin Yu's entire body will be like a black hole that will absorb the surrounding aura in a very domineering manner. His temperament will obviously change, but Sang Mo simply won't be able to tell him apart if he changes his appearance and dress slightly. The Xiumo secret skill Northern Darkness. Learning it is the most important thing. Qin Yu has made up his mind. Not only will he be able to avoid being hunted down this time, he will also have to learn the Xiumo secret skill Northern Darkness for the future. After 3 days of practice, Qin Yu has no choice but to admit that to successfully master the Northern Darkness is simply not something that can be done in a short period of time. Kaka, a bunch of idiots. You're really too weak, too weak. An arrogant and unruly voice comes in from outside. Hearing it, Qin Yu cannot help laughing. As soon as he hears it, he knows that the voice belongs to the fiery-eyed water ape Ho Fei. Qin Yu goes straight out of the bamboo house and comes to the outside. After being here for so long, Qin Yu still has not carefully observed this place. The bamboo house is located in an inner valley of a canyon in the deep sea. This inner valley has a natural barrier that confuses outsiders. Moreover, Uncle Lon himself has set up restrictive spells at the entrance of the inner valley, so it is almost impossible for outsiders to come in. There are really beautiful people in this inner valley. There are all kinds of colorful fish, crystal trees that emit green and lustrous rays of light, purple zoysia grass, some sparkling and translucent silver-shelled prawns, and a 7 to 8 m long huge turtle. It must be said that this inner valley is indeed very beautiful. At the moment, Ho Fei is brandishing a black stick and fighting 3 Zuyoists in a place in the inner valley. Bang! A big man carrying 2 sharp daggers and a suit of armor on his back is sent flying by Ho Fei's stick. In an instant, Ho Fei's black stick turns into 3 phantoms. That thin man with 2 sharp spears in his hands only has time to block 2 of the phantoms with the 2 spears in his hands. However, the other phantoms directly smash down on him, sending him flying. Kaka go! After the stick smashes down, Ho Fei gently stretches his leg and the fat man with the turtle shell on his back is immediately sent flying. 1 versus 3. Ho Fei wins easily. Kaka, you're really useless. You guys use a bit more strength. Come on, come on. Ho Fei says to the 3 Zuyoists while brandishing his black stick. His pair of fiery eyes glitter with warlike light. Boss, you're awesome. We admit defeat, we admit defeat. The silver-armored big man with 2 sharp daggers says hurriedly. The thin man with 2 spears on one side also says hurriedly, Boss, you're invincible. Don't fight with us. As for the fat man with the turtle shell on his back, he blinks his pitiful mung bean eyes. Suddenly, the fat man's mung bean eyes turn and he sees Qin Yu walking towards him. He says hurriedly, Boss, someone's coming. Judging from his momentum, he's walking with the gait of a dragon. He's definitely an expert. Only you, boss, can compare with him. Ho Fei brandishes his black stick and turns around to look. Big brother. Ho Fei's eyes brighten. His eyes are filled with fighting spirit. Big brother, come and have a few rounds with me. After saying so, he simply doesn't care whether Qin Yu agrees or not. Brandishing his black stick, he charges at him extremely fast. Qin Yu hasn't fought for a while, so his hands are itching for a fight. Seeing the black stick coming at him, Qin Yu's eyes brighten. In the blink of an eye, the flaming gloves appear in his hands. Qin Yu grabs the black stick with one hand. Sensing the terrifying energy contained in the black stick, Qin Yu lets go of it at once. At the same time, his hand turns into a snake and twines around the black stick. His other hand forms a sword finger and thrusts at Ho Fei's palm. Pang! Qin Yu feels as if his sword finger has stabbed a diamond, producing a metallic sound. Qin Yu can't help being astonished. He is wearing the flaming gloves after all. Even Ho Fei's hand is unharmed. This Ho Fei's defense is really too terrifying. Kaka, delightful. But it would be better if you use more strength. Ho Fei is very excited. His hand slightly trembles. Suddenly, the black stick turns into a stick shadow and smashes at Qin Yu. Qin Yu is about to dodge, but Ho Fei's finger slightly touches the black stick. The black stick unexpectedly vibrates rapidly while smashing down. Its trajectory is also very strange. Ho Fei's mouth has a trace of a proud smile. Delightful. Seeing such an exquisite move, Qin Yu's heart is excited. His hands are like a blooming lotus. His fingers gently touch the black stick. After several touches, the black stick's trajectory is affected. Qin Yu suddenly grabs the black stick with both hands. Let go. Qin Yu suddenly pulls back. At the same time, his right leg kicks at Ho Fei's right hand that is holding the black stick. Bang! Qin Yu heavily kicks Ho Fei's right hand. However, Ho Fei does not seem to feel anything. He grins at Qin Yu, revealing his white teeth. Then, Ho Fei's arm moves. A powerful hidden force is transmitted from the black stick to Qin Yu's hands. Qin Yu's whole body retreats. That hidden force actually makes Qin Yu's hands numb. One must know that Qin Yu is wearing the flaming gloves. Looking at Hou Fei, Qin Yu has to admit that Hou Fei is really too strong. A mythological beast of the middle stage of the Yuanying realm. It is similar to the mythological beast dragon Rocky Lion and the mythological beast Hong Wan that Qin Yu met in the past. It is comparable to a Dongshu stage Xiaoxinist. The gap between Qin Yu and it is indeed very big. He can't even break its defense. Ah, sisterly heir, little fishy has been bitten by a shark outside the valley. Hurry and save it. Along with the urgent shout, a golden light flashes. It directly passes by Qin Yu and Hou Fei and enters the bamboo house. Qin Yu and the others also go over. When the golden light stops, Qin Yu can see clearly that it is a beautiful little girl. This little girl has golden fish scales between her eyebrows. At the moment, she is holding a purple fish. This fish's stomach has been bitten open. Obviously, it is in imminent danger. A cyan phantom suddenly appears in the courtyard of the bamboo house. It is Miss Lear. Little Jean, don't worry. It doesn't matter. Yanzi, why did you leave the valley? Who told you to fight with that shark that is about to reach the Jin Dan stage? Miss Lear says with a smile. Then she reaches out her right hand and places it on Fishy's wound. Immediately, a cyan glow appears on Miss Lear's body. Miss Lear, who is shrouded in the cyan glow, is so elegant and holy. Looking at Miss Lear treating Fishy, Qin Yu suddenly feels that Miss Lear, who is treating others, is at her most charming. Even Qin Yu has a trace of feeling in his heart. Qin Yu can't help but shake his head and smile. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.